Even Luo Ying got up in excitement. She knew Mu Xiaoyun's place in Yimo's heart. She wouldn't be lower than them. Yimo missed Mu Xiaoyun as much as Yimo. Even Luo Ying got up in excitement. She knew Mu Xiaoyun's place in Yimo's heart. She wouldn't be lower than them. Yimo missed Mu Xiaoyun as much as Yimo. Fu Wu waved his hand and said, "Brother, you don't worry. You won't be able to find her now, even if you go." When I heard about Brother Yi searching all over the small world for Mu Xiaoyun, I took notice. Once I heard two ordinary martial artists collecting herbs talking about the Magical Continent Sect tournament, and then the Ice Lake. One of them said he saw the Ice Lake chariot go into Liangji Valley, and he hid on the side not daring to talk. Yimo got up suddenly and said shakily, "You're that old bitch of Ice Lake didn't go back to Ice Lake, and went to Liangji Valley on the way." At this moment, Yimo realized why he didn't find anyone coming back to Ice Lake. That old woman already had plans. Luckily, he left Xiaoyun a necklace and some pills. Hopeful, that old woman sought death herself. "Yes," Fu Wu said seriously. "I later asked those two, and they led me to the place. I searched there for an entire day, but I didn't find any way out. I really didn't get it. I trust those two wouldn't lie to me. But now I think I understand. There's probably some teleportation formation inside." Yimo fell silent. No wonder he couldn't find Mu Xiaoyun in the small world. She was taken away by that old woman of Ice Lake. She definitely did this for Xiaoyun's cultivation method. Yimo really wanted to go back to the small world and look at that valley, but he knew that it was impossible. Luo Ying came over and held Yimo's hand, saying, "Xiaoyun is lucky, she'll be fine. There will be a day for reunion. You've been back to Earth already. It's not impossible for you to go small world. We'll think of a way when we go back." Yimo sighed and looked at Luo Ying, saying, "Thank you, Susu." Then, Yimo forcefully set aside Xiaoyun's things, and then saluted with his fists to Fu Wu. "Brother Fu, thanks for bringing me this news. I'm staying at South Peace State. I'm here to do some things here. If you're willing, you can come with me to South Peace State Mou City to cultivate. The spirit chi there is very abundant." Fu Wu saluted with his fists and smiled. "Thank you, Brother Yi, but I like journeying around. The East Black State spirit chi might not be as good as South Peace State, but I'm living quite happily here. If I'm tired of playing one day, perhaps I'll go find Brother Yi at South Peace State." Yimo was expecting this. Yimo was planning to give him some things, but now he changed his mind. Fu Wu reached nascent soul state in this time without joining any sect meant that he had his fortune. Perhaps he found a heritage ruin during his journeys. The group started drinking and conversing. "Good wine. This is really good." Someone in the Spirit Rest Tower suddenly walked over to Yimo's table and sniffed. Then he added, "Is this made with 10,000-year stalagmite marrow? Using this to make wine. Too wasteful." This cultivator had messy hair and held a wine bottle. Clearly he loved drinking, but his power was disaster transformation state level 9. If it was some other time, he would invite this guy to drink, but he didn't have the mood. The messy-haired cultivator saw that the strongest on the table was only Jin Qianqing, cauldron-filling state. Yimo and the female cultivator next to him was very young. He couldn't see Yimo's power level. Theoretically, he was a disaster transformation state Qianbei and came to ask for a cup of wine. It should be fine. But these Wanbei pretended they didn't know. This made him longing and annoyed. He admired the courage that they dared to take such wine to drink publicly. Just when he wanted to talk, a powerful force loomed over the Spirit Rest Tower. 5 cultivators came into where Yimo was. The disaster transformation state cultivator's face changed and saluted with his fists. "So it's Shangqing sect leader Yu Jinan, great elder Yu Mian." The leading 2 were disaster transformation state peak stage. Hearing this, Yimo knew they were here for Chu Liang. They came quite quickly. It had only been half an hour. One long-faced cultivator heard this and said bleakly, "Ran Fushi, you have nothing to do with the murder of Elder Chu Liang, right? If not, you don't need to leave." Hearing this, Ran Fushi realized what was going on, but clearly he was no timid cultivator. He sneered, "Chongqing sect is so dominant. Chu Liang is a mere disaster transformation state primary stage cultivator. He's not worth my time. Don't overestimate yourself. Chongqing sect is only an 8-star sect. It's only so to me. If you want to take a piss over me like that, it's not enough. The long-faced cultivator realized Ranfushi was not involved, but his tone was too annoying. Just when he wanted to say something, the middle-aged man next to him stopped him and saluted with his fists. Since Brother Ran has nothing to do with this, then please go. Our sect is going to carnage today. Ranfushi realized the sect was here for the people drinking the wine. He immediately pointed at Emo and them in confusion. Sect leader you, is it because they're drinking wine made from 10,000-year stalagmite marrow, so you want to use an excuse to kill them? This excuse is too shitty. Sect leader you heard this and said coldly, if Brother Ran wants to intervene, we will take it. Then he looked over at Emo's table. If Ranfixie didn't say it, he really would know the wine was made from 10,000-year stalagmite wine. Ranfushi looked at Emo and them and sat on the side. I'm just drinking my wine at this spirit rest tower. What you want to do has nothing to do with. He knew that he was not yet a match for the Chongqing sect. He was pitying the bottle of wine on Emo's table. The long-haired cultivator walked up to Emo and them saying coldly, a few insects dare to ambush my Chongqing sect elder. You're asking to die. Emo was in a bad mood, and these few cultivators dared to annoy him. He yelled, piss off. The long-hair cultivator couldn't take it and grabbed at Emo. But his hand stopped mid-air halfway. Before he could look surprised, a cultivation essence giant hand covered his body already. Truth realization. The long-haired cultivator said this, and was crushed to nothing by Emo's cultivation essence giant hand. Seeing Emo kill a disaster transformation state peak stage elder in one move, everyone was shook. The sect leader instantly realized that they were starting trouble with a truth realization state cultivator. Cold sweat dripped down from his face. Ranfushi looked dazedly at Emo. He finally realized why he dared to take out that wine and drink. He was a truth realization state cultivator. There weren't many truth realization states in the entire East Black state. Yet he was enticed by the wine and dared to ask for wine from truth realization state. He wasn't afraid of Chongqing sect, as he knew even if they ganged up on him, he could run away. But how could he run from truth realization state? Qianbei, Wanbei Chongqing sect leader Yuejin. Greet Qianbei. Please forgive me for offending Qianbei, sect leader said shakily. Yuan Jian wouldn't expect to randomly meet a truth realization state in this small city. East Black State was a little stronger than North Far State, that was it. Chongqing sect was first-grade sect, and the death of a disaster transformation state elder was huge, so all of them came out, but instead, they encountered a truth realization state cultivator. Yuan Jian wouldn't expect to randomly meet a truth realization state in this small city. East Black State was a little stronger than North Far State, that was it. Chongqing sect was first-grade sect, and the death of a disaster transformation state elder was huge, so all of them came out, but instead, they encountered a truth realization state cultivator. Piss off. Emo really didn't have the mood to kill anymore. Chongqing sect's power was too powerful to East Black State. They were used to being cocky. No matter how many he killed, the sect would still be like this. If this was South P State, would an 8-star sect dare to be this cocky? This was the same as the 9-star sects in South P State. Hearing this, Yuan Jian almost knelt down. He quickly bowed and retreated. Yuan Jian's face looked bad, and he said to the other three, go back to the sect immediately and find Meng Qianbei and Huang Qianbei. Hearing this, they knew the sect leader wasn't going to settle with this, so they left. Ranfushi knew that truth realization state wasn't someone he could mess with, so he quickly went up and saluted with his fists. Wanbei Ranfushi didn't know it was truth realization state Qianbei. Please forgive me for my offense. Emo didn't have the mood to drink with him, but he felt this person was good, so he poured out some wine. You can have this. Ranfushi was dazed. He didn't expect would give him some. He wanted to reject, but it was too enticing to him. Emo didn't have the mood to chat. He got up and said, let's go and finish the things and go back to South Peace State. Ranfushi just realized that this Qianbei came from South Peace State. Yi Qianbei, will you be passing by here when you leave? If you do, I will wait for you and Sister Luoing here. Jin Qianqing felt Emo had personal matters to deal with. It wasn't good for her to follow them everywhere. The Xian brothers also realized this, Xian quickly said, Sister Jean is right. If Yi Qianbei is busy, we can wait here. Only Jie Yokue was too naive and didn't want to stay here. Yi Mo knew what they meant and waved his hand. Let's go together. I'm just going to visit an old place. Seeing this, Fu Wu bid farewell. Blue Moon dashed towards Magical Herb Sect. It didn't fly very fast. It's Hidden Sword Sect. Xian, she pointed at a big sect. Yi Mo dazed and subconsciously asked, Hidden Sword Sect, that 8-star sect? Sect leader is Bian Xiangxin? Luo Ying smiled, yes. East Black State has 3 8-star sects and 1 9-star sections. The other 8-star sect is Dong Liang sect. They are the strongest and Hidden Sword sect is the weakest. Yes, now that Chongqing sect lost 2 disaster transformation state cultivators to Yi Qianbei, Hidden Sword sect might surpass them. Xian, she nodded. This was Bianfengta's sect. He said his fiancée got with martial brother Yao Shan, and his father helped Yao Shan instead. He left the sect in fury and crossed the Heartless Sea. Bianfengta was disaster transformation state level 1 now, but Yi Mo knew he hadn't forgotten about his fiancée Qi Yirong. He just didn't want to say it. Erda and Da Tung were both Yi Mo's friends, and now that he was at Erda's home, Yi Mo was going to check it no matter what. He said to Luo Ying, this is Erda's sect, Bian Xiangxin is Erda's father. I'm going to see and tell him he's fine. Blue Moon landed on the outskirts of the sect. As an 8-star sect, its sect looked very grand, on par with South Peace State sections. The spirit chi here was very dense. There was at least a top-grade spirit range below it. Qian Bais, please hold up. A sect members stopped Yi Mo and them. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. I'm friends with Bianfengta. I came here to visit sect leader Bian. Please notify for me. The sect members heard this and didn't show much hospitality and studied them with a strange look instead. After a while, he said, the sect leader now is sect leader Lei. The old sect leader has deceased. Martial brother Bian has left the sect for decades and isn't in the sect now. Hearing this, Yi Mo frowned. Bianfengta's father was the sect leader and disaster transformation state level 8 power. He wasn't very old. He was far from the end of his lifespan. How could he suddenly die? What is it? A cold voice sounded as 2 female cultivator came out from the sect. The sect members quickly bowed. Disciple greet Elder Ming Master Qi. These few people say they are martial brother Bianfengta's friend. They came to visit the old sect leader, and I was explaining things to them. Oh. Elder Ming studied them, and eventually her eyes fell on Jin Qianqing and saluted with his fists. I believe since you guys are with Erda, you would know where he is? Jin Qianqing didn't know, but Yi Mo said, yes, Erda is my friend. I know where he is. He's busy with cultivation, and I happened to go past the sect, so I came to visit. There was a sliver of shock that flashed really quickly in the other female cultivator's eyes. Elder Ming heard this and showed an expression of surprise and joy. So you guys are Erda's friends. Please come in. In 1 month, it will be the celebration of our young sect leader taking the sect leader position. You guys can participate. The Elder Ming said to the female cultivator next to her Birong, notify Elder and young sect leader to welcome Erda's friends. I'll take these friends to the guest hall first. Irong subconsciously shivered and quickly said, yes, Elder. Irong, you're about to be sect leader wife. Don't always call me Elder, just call me Sister Ming. Elder Ming reproached. Yi Mo immediately realized that this female cultivator was Qi Irong, but he felt this Qi Irong wasn't a slutty woman. Thinking about this, Yi Mo said, this is probably goddess Qi Erda told me about. Then Yi Mo said to that Elder Ming, how about let goddess Qi take us to the guest hall? With someone familiar, here we can talk better. There was a sliver of anger in her eyes, but she smiled. Okay. Irong, don't be rude to our important guests. If the guests are unhappy and leaves, the big elder won't be happy. Yes, Elder Qi. Qi Irong quickly said, and didn't call her Sister Ming. Elder Ming didn't seem to mind and nodded to Yi Mo and them before walking off. Qi Irong took them a few steps and stopped, saying desperately, quickly leave. Tell Erda I didn't betray him. Tell him to never come back again. Things were indeed different to what Erda said. Yi Mo frowned. Erda is my friend. I don't know how his father died. I can't just leave like this. Why don't you listen? The big elder of the sect is Chi-Irong's words were interrupted by a laugh. A figure closed in extremely rapidly. Irong, why don't you take the distinguished guest to the guest hall? It's not good to treat guests like this. Then he raised his hand. Friends, please. Erda's friends are the hidden sword sex friends. Yemo felt things weren't right. This disaster transformation state level 6 seemed hospitable, but Yemo didn't feel welcomed at all. Thinking about what Chi-Irong said, he hid his power. Chi-Irong looked down and didn't talk, seeming as though she didn't dare to say anything. Chi-Irong looked down and didn't talk, seeming as though she didn't dare to say anything. This disaster transformation state level 6 waved his hand to her and said, "You can go, I'll hand here." Yemo felt things were getting more wrong. She was about to be sect leader wife, and that elder Ming yelled her around. Now, this elder didn't respect her much as well. Before she could go, Yemo smiled. Chi-Irong is having a good talk with us. Let her stay and chat with her. The disaster transformation state level 6 didn't expect Yemo to say this. He was at a loss for words. He nodded and said, "That's true. Come in together then, Irong." It was supposed to be guest hall, but Yemo's spirit sense scanned that the place they went to was only a distant far-off hall. There was a level 8 defense formation outside. It was subtle, but Yemo saw it immediately. Then, the disaster transformation state said, "Where is Erda now?" "I was really happy to hear Marshall Brothers' friends come here." A sharp voice sounded, interrupting the disaster transformation state cultivator. Elder Ming and a bald-headed truth realization state level 1 came in with this voice. Yemo didn't expect there to be truth realization state cultivator here. That truth realization state level 1 looked at him immediately. Yemo guessed that Elder Ming couldn't see his power, so she invited this truth realization state here. The sharp voice was Erda's martial brother Yao Shan. He was body condensation state primary stage, while Chi-Irong was still only at hollow spirit state. "Irong, why are you here too?" the sharp voice cultivator said happily. Chi-Irong got up and said quietly, "I came in with Erda's friends. I have things to do with you later." Then the voice said to the truth realization state level 1 cultivator, "Grand Elder, please sit first." The truth realization state nodded and said casually to Yemo, "Little friend, your stealth cultivation method is indeed powerful. I can't even see it." Yemo smiled and said nothing. He hid his power to see what the sect wanted. If this wasn't Erda's sect, he would just interrogate them. Seeing Yemo not answer, the truth realization state didn't mind and just went to the top and sat down. "I'm Erda's martial brother Yao Shan. Erda's friends are my friends. What are your names?" Yao Shan said. He pointed at the disaster transformation state level 6. "This is my sect's elder Nan." Yemo got up and saluted with his fists. "I'm Yemo. I was passing by Hidden Sword Sect, but I didn't expect sect leader Bien to pass away so early. Erda doesn't know this news yet. If he does, he would feel very bad." Yemo only introduced himself and not the others, but Yao Shan clearly didn't care anyways. Yao Shan's mood went gloomy. After Erda left the sect, Master had cultivation problems out of anger. In the end, sigh. How could Bien Xiangxin be angry? From what Erda said, his father wanted him to leave. He didn't seem angry or worried at all. Yao Shan sighed and barely collected himself. "Brother Yi, where is Erda?" "The next month is when I take sect leader. This position belongs to martial brother Erda, but I can't find where he is. If he can come back, I would rather give this position to him." Yemo nodded. "I know where Erda is indeed. He's at. Don't say it. He wants Erda to come back, so he can kill him and take the hidden sword sect heritage on him." Chi-Irong suddenly interrupted. Yemo looked calmly at her. He was waiting for her to tell the truth. "Irong, are you crazy? If Erda comes back, we can give the sect leader to him, and then we can marry. Do you not want Erda to come back? He's my martial brother, the only bloodline of our sect." Yao Shan got up and said in confusion. Chi-Irong sneered and ignored him. She turned to Yemo and said, "Martial brother Yi, you're Erda's friend, so I'll call you martial brother. I can tell you for sure, since you came here today, you wouldn't be able to leave the sect regardless if you tell them where Erda is. They want Erda's life and the heritage he took." Yemo now realized why this truth realization state level 1 came here. They all wanted the heritage of the sect. But he didn't hear her to talk about the hidden sword sect heritage. Did he hide this? The truth realization state scanned Shi Irong coldly and said, "Take her away."
Yes.
Elder Ming quickly bowed and was going to pull Shi Irong. Yao Shan looked desperate, but he didn't dare to talk. Shi Irong said again to Yi Mo, "Martial brother Yi, trust me, Erda must not come back. Tell Erda I'll be going first." Then she sneered to Yao Shan, marry you? I, Shi Irong, never wanted to marry you. You and Ming Xiangtian killed sect leader Bian, and you think no one knows? One day Erda will come back for revenge. She walked over to Elder Ming without the need for her to drag her. She had no intention to live anymore, but she knew suicide was impossible here. Since you know, then don't go. Dying here is the same. The truth realization state level 1 grabbed with cultivation essence giant hand. Grand Elder, don't kill Irong. She won't say anything. Yao Shan called out desperately. The truth realization state glared coldly at Yao Shan. He shivered but didn't dare to say anything. Yi Mo didn't expect the inside story to be revealed this quickly. Bian Xiangxin was harmed by his disciple, the one whom he supported. Yao Shan clearly wasn't a good person to be able to harm his master. Shi Irong seemed to have a lot of things she wanted to say, but didn't dare to. Eventually, she didn't have the opportunity to say it all. The cultivation essence giant hand dissipated halfway. Just when everyone thought the Grand Elder stopped due to Yao Shan's plea for mercy, there was extreme shock in the Grand Elder's eyes. Then everyone saw another cultivation essence giant hand grab the cultivation essence giant hand like a little chicken and threw him into the middle of the hall. Truth realization state tertiary stage. Domain great completion. The truth realization state couldn't even crawl up. Yi Mo casually sealed his power. Yi Mo would have killed this guy if he knew why Bian Xiangxin died. Everyone was scared, dumbfounded by Yi Mo's means. A truth realization state level 1 couldn't even resist, and was thrown like a chicken. Not even a truth realization state tertiary stage should be able to do this. But to Yi Mo, truth realization state level 1 wasn't much stronger than an insect. Martial brother Yi, Qian Bei, Shi Irong looked excitedly at Yi Mo. Just when she thought she was going to die, the impossible happened. Yi Mo was this young, but he was a truth realization state tertiary stage master? Yi Mo nodded. Erda told me about you, but in his impression you didn't seem to be like this. Tell me more specific detail. No one dares to do anything to you here. Yes. Shi Irong nodded quickly in excitement. Shi Irong collected her thoughts and said the sect leader didn't know there was sect heritage. He had this sudden feeling and didn't tell anyone when he came out of solitary cultivation. He went to visit the shrine of the deceased ancestors of the sect. At this moment, he found Ming Xiangtian who snuck in here. At that time this person was disaster transformation state level 9 power. Shi Irong collected her thoughts and said the sect leader didn't know there was sect heritage. He had this sudden feeling and didn't tell anyone when he came out of solitary cultivation. He went to visit the shrine of the deceased ancestors of the sect. At this moment, he found Ming Xiangtian who snuck in here. At that time this person was disaster transformation state level 9 power. Truth realization state level 1. Ming Xiangtian heard this, and his face changed. He finally realized he never found the heritage from Bian Xiangxin. At that time, Bian Xiangxin already noticed him. Shi Irong looked coldly at Ming Xiangtian, who couldn't move on the ground. Sect leader was very confused as the sect leader of the sect had always been one from the Bian family. Why was an elder who wasn't of the Bian family at the shrine? The sect leader grew careful, and every time he went into solitary cultivation, he hid at the shrine. After some time, sect leader knew why. There was a top-grade cultivation method heritage in the sect. Ming Xiangtian's face grew. He knew that things wouldn't end well today. Bian Fengta's friend was truth realization state tertiary stage. He really couldn't understand why a truth realization state tertiary stage would be so bored to be friends with a low-level cultivator. The sect leader was shook and furious. He didn't expect Xiang Mingtian was hiding this from him. He didn't know why the past sect leaders didn't know about this, and yet Ming Xiangshan knew. But the sect leader had made up his mind to kill Ming Xiangtian. There was contempt in Ming Xiangtian's eyes. This made Shi Irong more furious. she said hatefully, but when the sect leader was prepared to kill Ming Xiangshan, he realized the sect wasn't the same sect as before. He had been focused on solitary cultivation and didn't notice this. What does that mean? Jie Yokue asked. Qi Yirong bowed to her and said sect leader found that elderly suddenly died in solitary cultivation. Elder Feng, who went out to travel, was also surrounded and killed. The elder Hui died to his enemy. Elder Feng went missing when he went to the Heartless Sea. The sect leader Bian is too stupid. There had been so many dead and missing elders. Is he dumb? He only remembered them when he needed them?
Jayokue said.
Qi Yirong shook her head. It's not that the sect leader was dumb, but he trusted Ming Xiangtian too much. And he wanted to break through to disaster transformation state tertiary stage, so he was in solitary cultivation. How could he know what happened? If he didn't see Ming Xiangtian go to the sect shrine, he wouldn't even know about this. The remaining Elder Nan and Elder Ming were both on Ming Xiangtian's side. Qi Yirong's side, the sect leader didn't attack Ming Xiangshan and instead tried to find the hidden heritage. Luckily, he's a level 6 formation great master and had Bian family bloodline. Thus, he found the heritage first. Then, he realized why the sect leader had to be formation great master. If he didn't know formation, he wouldn't be able to find the heritage. Ming Xiangtian's face looked bad. He spent all of his time in cultivation. Why would he investigate formation? That's good, Jin Qianqing said, and felt happy for the sect leader Bian. Qi Yirong nodded, yes, but at this moment the sect leader realized he was already poisoned, and the person who poisoned him was his big disciple whom he trusted the most. Yao Shan's eyes narrowed. Qi Yirong looked coldly at Yao Shan. Every time sect leader comes out of solitary cultivation, he would sit in the quiet room for a few days. Yao Shan took the responsibility of cleaning and burning incense there. He was only a nascent soul state cultivator, so he wasn't able to poison sect leader without him noticing. But he was told what to do by Ming Xiangshan. Yirong, this really has nothing to do with me. Elder Ming told me to help sect leader. I didn't know it was poison. Yao Shan explained. You knew? Qi Yirong said, and didn't explain. Sect leader had no one to help him at the time. He didn't tell Erda as he knew Erda wasn't mature at the time. If he told him, they would die faster, so the sect leader came to me. Yi Mo nodded and sighed. So you purposely showed Erda what happened between you and Yao Shan? Yes, I was Erda's fiancé. If the sect leader had a choice, how could he tell me to leave Erda and be with Yao Shan? Plus, Erda didn't do anything wrong at the time. Erda came to me in fury, but I could only harden my heart and ignore him. Then he went to the sect leader but was reproached by the sect leader saying he doesn't deserve me. Qi Yirong's tone went melancholic. Erda thought the sect leader thought he didn't have ambition, so he left the sect in fury. Sect leader breathed easy. He wanted Erda to go as far away as possible. He left a mark on Erda. I can feel it. If the sect leader didn't forbid me, I would have went out to find Erda already. Do you know when Erda came back? Yi Mo asked. Qi Yirong nodded. Yes, when he came back he was cauldron-filling state power, and we were both very happy. But the sect leader wanted Erda to leave and not come back. So, you asked Yao Shan out, and purposely let Erda see. In the end, Erda didn't come to the sect and left? Yi Mo asked. Qi Yirong bowed to Yi Mo. Yi Qianbei, you're indeed very good friends with Erda. If you weren't, he wouldn't tell you this. Erda has sect leader's mark on him. When he reaches disaster transformation state, he would sense the mark. Yi Mo nodded, then Erda should know the mark. Huh? Qi Yirong looked at Yi Mo with surprise and joy. Yi Qianbei, Erda is disaster transformation state. Yi Mo smiled. Yes, Erda improves rapidly. He's indeed disaster transformation state. After this you can come with us to see him. But I'm Erda's friend, don't call me Qianbei anymore. Just call me Martial Brother. Yes, Martial Brother Yi. Qi Yirong resisted the excitement in her heart. She thought she would never be able to see Erda again. She couldn't help asking, Martial Brother Yi, where is Martial Brother Erda? Yi Mo nodded. He's in South Peace State. I came to East Black State to do some things after I'm done. I'm going back to South Peace State. As for Hidden Sword Sect, just find someone to manage it. Then, Yemo thought about the heritage. Since it was Erda's, he was planning to take it to him. Yemo asked, "Where's the heritage now?" "Erda isn't here. Can I bring it to him?" Chi-Irong knew that she wouldn't be able to stop it if a Qianbei like this wanted Erda's heritage, so she said. Not long after Erda left, Ming Xiangtian found the heritage place and realized it was found by the sect leader. He also realized that his things were exposed. Just when Ming Xiangshan was about to attack, the sect leader killed himself. The sect leader told me to find a time to leave the sect and find Erda. The sect leader didn't tell me, but I knew the sect leader had already given the heritage to Erda, but Erda doesn't know. "Then why haven't you left?" Jia Yokue asked. Jin Xianqing replied for her, "Because she's been kept in custody here. Didn't you see? That elder Ming followed her everywhere." Chi-Irong nodded yes, because if I'm here Erda would come back. If I leave, Ming Xiangtian wouldn't be able to find him again. Ming Xiangtian's face was pale, and he didn't say anything. He thought that at Truth Realization State Level 1, he was at the peak other than the few Truth Realization states in East Black State. But now he realized he was nothing to a real master. Under Yemo's domain, Ming Xiangtian and them were all killed. Yao Shan truly loved Chi-Irong, and she couldn't do it, so Xian she killed him. There were not a single disaster transformation state cultivator left in the sect. Chi-Irong gave the sect leader position to a cauldron-filling state tertiary stage cultivator. One day later, they all left the sect. Chi-Irong came with them. At this moment, at the previous site of Magical Herb Sect, Yemo and Luo Ying stood here silently. The sect doors had turned into barren wasteland. There were some level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs scattered around everywhere. They sprouted from seeds of the herb garden. At this moment, at the previous site of Magical Herb Sect, Yemo and Luo Ying stood here silently. The sect doors had turned into barren wasteland. There were some level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs scattered around everywhere. They sprouted from seeds of the herb garden. Luo Ying held Yemo's hand and walked into the ruins. Seeing where they used to live, Luo Ying's eyes went red. This was not only the place she and Yemo stayed at, but also where she lived since she had memory. "Yemo, this is where I concocted pills, this is where you cultivated, even though this place was in ruins," Luo Ying remembered very clearly. Susu. Yemo knew Luo Ying felt very sad and comforted. Yemo said. "What is it?" Luo Ying looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo pointed at the ruins and said, "Someone set up restriction here, meaning that if we go in, people would immediately know." "Who would set up restriction at this ruins?" Luo Ying asked in confusion. The sect had no spirit chi nor spirit herbs. Those level 1 and level 2 spirit herbs were worthless and could be found everywhere. "I don't believe it would be anyone else but the West Flow sect," Yemo said heavily. Luo Ying fell silent. The sect was annihilated due to her. Now the West Flow sect set up a restriction here to wait for her or Yemo to come back. Yemo grabbed her hand. "Susu, don't feel guilty. The sect was annihilated not due to you. You were just an excuse." Luo Ying looked at him in confusion. Yemo didn't hide it from her. "I told you, when I killed Jing Yuzhen at the Truth Fall Palace, there was something I didn't tell you. The reason his father wanted to annihilate Magical Herb Sect was for a herb cauldron." "Herb cauldrons?" Luo Ying asked in confusion. Yemo nodded. "That's right, but after they annihilated our Magical Herb Sect, they didn't find it. They only found a lid. I knew this from Jing Yuzhen. He wouldn't dare to lie to me before his death." "Then they set up this restriction for the herb cauldron?" Luo Ying asked. Yemo said heavily, "If I'm not wrong, West Flow sect has such intention, but of course the main point for this restriction is to wait for me, or you to come back, especially you. You were the greatest prodigy of the sect at the time. It would most likely be you who took the herb cauldron. Of course, even if it isn't on you, you would still fall into their hands. So this means if we touch the restriction now, the West Flow sect people would come?" Luo Ying asked Yemo. "Theoretically, yes, but after all Tace years, I'm not if they would come. We don't need to wait here. We'll go there now." Yemo looked at the direction of the West Flow sect with killing intent. There was still a Jing Kuan waiting to be killed. Yemo had never been there, but the Xian brothers knew where it was. Blue Moon arrived there in only half an hour. As a 5-star sect, Yemo thought the West Flow sect would be much better than Magical Herb sect, but when they came here, they realized it wasn't much better. It was a ruin too. They've been annihilated for many years. Yemo felt that it was related to that herb cauldron. If it really was, just what sort of herb cauldron was it? Let's go. Luo Ying pulled Yemo. She suddenly hated staying here. She wanted to go back to Mou City. Zhao City, the largest cultivation city of East Black State, the teleportation formation to South Peace State was here. In a spirit rest tower, for Truth Realization State states, 3 famous Formation Grand Master and 7 Disaster Transformation State cultivators were waiting here. This place gathered the strongest power of the East Black State. There wouldn't be more than 20 Truth Realization State cultivators in East Black State altogether. Most of them were hidden cultivators. They didn't come out into the world. The leading Truth Realization State was Mang Hai Sect Leader, Truth Realization State Level 7 Chi Pei. As the top-level cultivator of East Black State, he usually didn't even have the time to come out, but he waited at this spirit rest tower for nearly a month. He was discussing cultivation experience and formation with the others. One body condensation state cultivator carefully walked to the door and bowed to everyone before saying to the slightly chubby-faced, middle-aged man sitting at the top, Qi Qianbei, Chongqing Sect Leader Yu Jinan asks to see you. Qi Pei nodded. Let him come in. Not long after the body condensation state left, Yu Jinan came in and saluted with his fists. Chongqing Sect Yu Jinan greet Sect Leader Qi, Elder Ji, Shi Qianbei, He Qianbei, and friends. Yu Jinan was Disaster Transformation State Peak Stage and 8-star sect leader. Other than the Truth Realization States, the other people returned the gesture. Qi Pei nodded. Is there something important for Sect Leader Yu to come see me in such a rush? Yes, please help us, Sect Leader Qi. Yu Jinan seemed extremely wronged. What happened? A Truth Realization State Level 4 next to Qi Pei asked in confusion. Chongqing Sect was one of the only 3 8-star sects here. Who would dare to do anything to them other than the 9-star sect Dongliang Sect? Qi Pei frowned and had a bad feeling. Yu Jinan didn't see Qi Pei's face and said quickly, an unseen Truth Realization State killed our sect members and killed our Disaster Transformation State Level 3 Elder Chu Liang without reason. I went with Big Elder Yu Mian to reason, but this Truth Realization State killed Big Elder without saying anything. Yu Jinan's face sunk and said, this person doesn't take our East Black State Disaster Transformation State cultivators seriously and kills without reason. Yu Jinan suddenly stopped as he felt the atmosphere wasn't right. Theoretically, someone should be helping him, and then the Truth Realization State cultivators would get angry, and Sect Leader Qi would order a warrant for that Truth Realization State cultivator. However, the room fell silent instead. The Truth Realization States looked at each other, and a skinny Truth Realization State Level 5 looked at Yu Jinan coldly and asked, how old is that cultivator? Where did he come from? Is he from East Black State? Yu Jinan's heart shook. He felt things weren't right, but he didn't dare to not reply. He Qianbei, that Truth Realization State definitely isn't from East Black State. I heard he came from Heartless Sea and is extremely young. Do you know what his name is? The skinny Truth Realization State said with a colder tone. Yu Jinan felt more insecure. He didn't know what he said wrong, and replied carefully. He said he's called Yemo. Saying that, Yu Jinan immediately felt things weren't right. The Truth Realization States looked at him with even colder eyes. The other Disaster Transformation State cultivators and Formation Grand Master looked at him with a sliver of pity. Qi Pei sneered and couldn't even be bothered talking. The skinny Truth Realization State sneered at Eugene and, you brought this on yourself. Your Chongqing sect has always been very dominant, and I was thinking this day would occur. You want Sect Leader Qi to help you. I think you should wipe your neck clean. Yu Jinan fell into an ice cave hearing this. He didn't know where he was wrong. That Truth Realization State was powerful, but Qi Pei was the #1 person in East Black State. How could he be so scared? Chongqing Sect was an East Black State sect. Why was it like this? Yu Jinan finally realized that Yemo was no ordinary person. He didn't know who exactly Yemo was, but he knew if he didn't make remedies now, Chongqing Sect would be over. Feeling the pressure from the truth realization states, Jinan knelt down. He wanted to slap himself a few hundred times. He didn't even find out who Emo was and came here to seek death. Feeling the pressure from the truth realization states, Jinan knelt down. He wanted to slap himself a few hundred times. He didn't even find out who Emo was and came here to seek death. The skinny truth realization state looked coldly at Jinan and said coldly, "Are you regretting not finding out Yi Qianbei's identity first?" Hearing this, Jinan almost fell. Even truth realization state level 5, Hitsume called that young cultivator Qianbei. Just who was he? He was crazy to take on someone like that for a dead Chuliang. Qianbei, Wanbei, Jinan didn't want to get revenge from Emo at all. He just wanted to go back to the sect and go into solitary cultivation and not come out until he reached truth realization state. Before truth realization state, he was worse than an insect in front of them. This feeling was intolerable for him, a cultivator who had been at the top for so long. The skinny cultivator said, "Yi Qianbei came to East Black State to set up interstate teleportation formation. You offended Yi Qianbei. No one can save you." Then, Hiwume shot out a dark ray into Jinan's chest. Jinan couldn't move immediately. Hiwume turned back to a disaster transformation state level 7 and said, "Shangfei, lock him up first and wait for Yi Qianbei's decision." Yes. A cultivator came up and took Jinan away immediately. Jinan knew Shangfei, but even if he wasn't sealed, he didn't dare to do anything. He breathed easy after leaving the room. He really couldn't take that pressure inside. Shangfei took Jinan to a room and saluted with his fists. "Sorry, sect leader, you can only stay here and wait for Yi Qianbei." Jinan took out a jade bottle to Shangfei. "Brother Shang, on the account we know each other, can you tell me who that Yi Qianbei is?" Looking at the jade bottle, Shangfei couldn't resist but take it and say, "Sect leader, I only know some simple things. The teleportation formation from East Black State to South Peace State is seriously damaged. That Yi Qianbei is a level 9 formation Grand Master coming to repair it." Jinan dazed. A level 9 formation Grand Master was indeed very important, but not to the degree for Hiwume to call him Qianbei. Shangfei sighed, seeing that Jinan hadn't realized things. "Sect leader, your sect is 8-star sect, but Yi Qianbei can probably completely stamp clean your sect in less than 5 minutes. The East Black State teleportation formation is damaged, but it can still teleport Jade Slip. 9-star sect Heaven Demon sect leader Shi Luan are friends with Qi Qianbei. This time 11 Luan Qianbei went to North Far State. Before she went, she sent a Jade Slip to sect leader Qi, and it introduced Yi Qianbei's character and power. Shangfei shook his head. "Sect leader, if you knew that the South Peace State disaster was saved by Yi Qianbei by himself, if you knew 2 9-star sects in South Peace State were easily annihilated by Yi Qianbei, if you knew the 10-star power of South Peace State Pill City sent 11 Truth Realization State cultivators to attack Yi Qianbei and was killed clean by Yi Qianbei, and yet Pill City didn't even have the courage to get revenge, you wouldn't look for trouble with Yi Qianbei." Jinan was completely dazed. He didn't expect the young cultivator he wanted to look for trouble with was this power. This was completely beyond truth realization state cultivator. No wonder Hiwume called this person Qianbei. Before Shangfei left, he said, "Qi Qianbei and them are here waiting for Yi Qianbei. They've been waiting for a month or so." Jinan completely collapsed. He knew that with one word of Yi Qianbei, he would be completely over, and so would his sect. The Spirit Rest Tower's happy atmosphere was made sullen by Jinan. Qi Pei was annoyed. This Jinan was an unlucky charm. Shi Luan was very close to him. When they first set up the teleportation formation, they too regretted meeting so late. Her jade slip was very detailed, and he only told the others some basic things. Emo could be said to be the #1 person in South Peace State now. Level 9 Formation Grand Master, Level 9 Pill King, and he annihilated 1000 km Spirit Devouring Bug by himself, killing a few 100 million Sand Soul Beasts. He killed 11 Truth Realization States, including a Truth Realization State Level 9 with low-grade Immortal Artifact. Fighting against someone like that is asking for death. Just when Qi Pei was annoyed, The body condensation state reported again, saying desperately, Qi Qianbei, Qianbais. Yi Qianbei is at the teleportation formation studying the teleportation formation. Quickly go. Qi Pei rushed out of the spirit rest tower already. The rest of the cultivators followed. They all wanted to see what sort of person this Yi Qianbei was. Yi Mo knew that Luo Ing wanted to go back, but Yi Mo wasn't going to fly across the Heartless Sea. He just needed to repair the teleportation formation and go back through there. They just arrived for a while, and Qi Pei brought everyone over. East Black State Qi Pei greet Grand Master Yi. Qi Pei wanted to call Yi Mo Qianbei, but Yi Mo was much younger than him, and only a level higher than him in cultivation level. He knew he would probably be instantly killed by Yi Mo, but he was too embarrassed to call Yi Mo Qianbei. Yi Mo heard of Qi Pei. Wan Shi told him it was her good friend. Even if he wasn't Wan Shi's friend, Yi Mo would give some face to him for being East Black State Truth Realization State, so he politely greeted everyone, including the Disaster Transformation State level formation Grandmasters. After that greeting, they realized sometimes stories weren't true. Wan Shi said Yi Mo was very powerful and they must not offend Yi Mo. This made them think Yi Mo was a cold master. But Yi Mo treated Qi Pei with the same attitude he treated body condensation states. Qi Pei breathed easy and then spoke about Yu Jinan. Without hesitation, he knew it was Yu Jinan's wrong. Chu Liang he knew was very lustful. Yi Mo's wife was an extreme beauty in this world. Chu Liang wasn't going to let her go after seeing her. Hearing this, Yi Mo's face immediately sunk. He just realized that he let Yu Jinan, but this guy instead wanted to find people to kill him. Seeing this, Qi Pei immediately realized what to do without the need for Yi Mo to say anything. He said to the Truth Realization State Level 2 behind him, Sect Leader Yu has made a huge mistake. He must die. The Chongqing sect can change elders. Yes, Sect Leader. The Truth Realization State turned to leave. Yi Mo didn't expect Qi Pei to be this decisive. Yi Mo wasn't going to let go someone like that. Yi Qianbei, how should we set up this formation? Please tell us. We can do the work. This was the only level 9 formation Grand Master of East Black State. Yi Mo nodded. I'll set up this formation. The spirit chi here is too bad. The formation materials are too low quality too. I will switch it all. Then Yi Mo said to Luo Ing, Susu, go with Qianqing and them and stay at the Spirit Rest Tower for a few days. I need about 5 to 6 days for this formation. Yi Mo was level 1 Immortal Formation Master. He had no problems for this teleportation formation, and he had plenty of materials in his storage ring. He was willing to do this for East Black State. He wanted that after he set up the teleportation formation, any cultivator could use it to get to South P State and not be limited like before. Emchum. Luo Ing nodded. Seeing Yi Mo take out an extreme grade spirit range and put into the formation, even Qi Pei was dazed. Even his sect didn't have it, and yet easily took one out to set up the teleportation formation. This wasn't just wealthy. The few formation grandmasters saw Yi Mo make formation flags on the spot and knew Yi Mo wasn't repairing formation. He was setting up a completely new teleportation formation. 5 days later, Yi Mo finished setting up the teleportation formation. He didn't leave immediately and asked Qi Pei to help him find Shi Wanqing. 5 days later, Yi Mo finished setting up the teleportation formation. He didn't leave immediately and asked Qi Pei to help him find Shi Wanqing. A month later, Yi Mo didn't get any news of her. He was disappointed and left East Black State with Luo Ing and them. Returning to South Peace State, Jin Qianqing also bid farewell and left. The Blue Moon came to Mou City. Both Xian brothers and Qi Yirong were astounded by the dense spirit Qi in Mou City. The Xian brothers rejoiced at their decision. For someone who stayed at the sea corner for a few decades, any place in South Peace State would make them very happy, much less Mou City. They could imagine how rapid they would be cultivating here. Yi Mo thought Erda would ignore Qi Yirong, but what they didn't expect was that he saw her and immediately rushed over, grabbing her hand. Yartie. Qi Yirong was excited seeing him after a few decades again and didn't know what to say. Did something happen to my dad? Bien Fengta had a bad feeling and said in a shaky tone. Qi Yirong's eyes went red, and she said in surprise, "You already know." Bien Fengta took out a jade disc and nodded. "After I reached disaster transformation state, I found this heritage disc. I know everything." "Sorry, Yirong, I shouldn't misunderstood you." They knew the two had a lot to talk, so they left. After all the huge events, South Peace State completely calmed down, and so were the three other states in Luoyu continent. Yi Mo repaired the few teleportation formations and set up the teleportation formation from Pei Hai City to Mou City, and then went into solitary cultivation. The benefits of corner soul weed to his spirit sense was unimaginable. Yi Mo got a lot of corner soul weed, but he used them up quick and needed to leave some for the people with him. Yi Mo didn't use time formation disc to cultivate spirit sense. He didn't have much immortal crystals left. 3 hours later, Yi Mo's spirit sense doubled. His spirit sense improved like crazy using corner soul weed and pure spirit nourishing well. If he went to annihilate those spirit-devouring bugs, he wouldn't almost collapse in exhaustion. Yi Mo had reached level 5 of 5-element mobility. He could use 2 purple suns for Heaven Flame 9 suns now. The only pity was that he didn't have a better spirit sense cultivation method. His purple ice soul sever was too low. If he had better spirit sense cultivation method, Yi Mo believed he would be able to reach Heaven Flame 9 suns level 3. Su Jingwen finished her divine damnation and reached cauldron-filling state. Luo Ying reached body condensation state level 7, Tang Beiwei reached hollow spirit state level 4, and even Xu Ping and Shi Tai were nascent soul state. Only Yi Mo didn't dare to cultivate. He was afraid he wouldn't be able to control his power and ascended early. What annoyed Yi Mo was that when he cultivated, his cultivation wasn't fast when he used time formation disc and immortal crystals. But when he cultivated spirit sense, in a few short years he reached truth realization state level 8 peak. If he used immortal crystals, he would have reached truth realization state level 9 in a short time already. Yi Mo knew he couldn't keep waiting. If he kept waiting, he might not have a chance to go back to the small world. Knowing that Mu Xiaoyan went missing at Liangji Valley in the small world, Yi Mo wanted to go down already. Now that Mou City was going in the right tracks, and everyone was cultivating fast, if he still didn't go to the small world, people would be immortal ascending. He wanted to immortal ascend first. Mou City was the safest place in South Peace State. No one dared to mess with them. This was a place countless people respected, so Yi Mo felt very safe leaving everyone here. From Jin Jinlin's Jade Slip, he knew that Immortal Realm was countless times bigger than Luoyu continent. The 33 heavens of Immortal Realm. If each heaven was an ocean, Luoyu continent wouldn't even splash a wave up if thrown inside. At Mou City Lake, Yi Mo, Luo Ying, Ning Qingxue, Su Jingwen, Song Yangzhu, and them were sitting together. They knew Yi Mo was going to the small world, but no one stopped him. No one felt unhappy too. Yi Mo would do this for any one of them. If Yi Mo wasn't like this, how could they fall in love with him? How are you planning to go? Ning Qingxue bit her lips. She was body condensation state level 4, and many times she wanted to give birth to a child for Yi Mo, but seeing everyone cultivating and out of fear she would fall behind too much, she delayed this plan to after Immortal Ascension. Yi Mo was planning to go Nangong Village first. That place was too mysterious. It was where Chu Juyu lived too. Chu Juyu immortal ascended in the small world. Perhaps he could find something there. If not, he would forcefully tear open the voice. But Yi Mo didn't dare to say this. He was afraid they would go there if he went for too long. Nangong Village was not a good place. He warned everyone in Mou City to never go there unless reaching truth realization state peak stage. I'm planning to tear open the void. I can do that with my power now. I reached God state body refinement there, so there's no danger. Even if I can't find the small world, I can come back. Yi Mo said casually. Then you need to come back earlier,
Su Jingwen said.
Yi Mo nodded. No matter if I find Xiaoyan or not, I will try to come back as early as possible. If Xiaoyan is there too, we'll be all united. Then, Yi Mo said heavily, there's no direction in the void, so I don't know if I will go directly to the small world. So, I need to tell you guys some things. The group focused, seeing that Emo's tone was serious. No matter how long cultivators live in the cultivation realm, it's at most about 10,000 years. Those older than that are very rare. We will be together forever, so we can only ascend to immortal realm. I want us to be able to be together forever in the immortal realm. Then, we can sit in my magic artifact and roam the 33 heavens, so ascending to the immortal realm is our first fighting step. If we ascend to immortal realm, would we be able to live forever and be together forever? Song Yongju's eyes were teary. She was the weakest. She was scared she would fall behind too much and stay here alone. She couldn't resist being alone. Yi Mo shook his head. I don't know. I only know immortal's lifespan is countless times that of cultivation realm cultivators. I don't know if it's eternal lifespan, but I have a feeling that even in the immortal realm, you probably can't attain eternal life. He knew what Song Yongju thought. She worked hard, but due to spirit root limitations, she was the weakest. Yi Mo got up and pulled her hand. No matter what, I'll be satisfied that we can stay together in the immortal realm for countless years. Yongju, don't worry, although your spirit root isn't as good as Jingguan and Qingxua and them, but you can immortal ascension too. Trust me. Song Yongju nodded. Seeing them all a little reluctant to let him go, Yi Mo said again, I'm certain I can come back, but there's no direction in the void. I don't know how long it will be till I come back. So before I leave, I need to tell you what I know about the immortal realm, so we can all meet up after immortal ascension. The immortal realm is different to Luo Yu continent. If we don't make arrangements, we'll never find each other. Yi Mo said seriously. So before I leave, I need to tell you what I know about the immortal realm, so we can all meet up after immortal ascension. The immortal realm is different to Luo Yu continent. If we don't make arrangements, we'll never find each other. Yi Mo said seriously. Tell us. After you leave, I will tell this to Yimo and Beiwei and them. Luoying nodded. Yi Mo said, according to what I know, there are 33 heavens in the immortal realm. There are divisions between them, but I don't know specifically. I think the divisions are either based on power or immortal spirit chi density. Yu Hung Heaven Lord Lu Jingchuan has enmity with me, so we must not go there. We can't even say we're from Luo Yu continent, just say we're from Xinxiong cultivation realm. Yi Mo was worried about Lu Jingchuan the most. Yi Mo didn't know how powerful this guy was, but Jin Jinlin said he was extremely powerful. Xinxiong cultivation realm was the cultivation realm of Meng Qi. It could avoid some trouble. Then where should we meet? Su Jingwen asked. Yi Mo said, when we first immortal ascend, we're took weak. We wouldn't be able to cross heavens. We wouldn't be able to afford the teleportation formation fees. I'm thinking we can cultivate ourselves or join a sect. After we have enough power, we'll go meet up in Gong Hua Heaven. Jin Jinlin told his descendants to go there. It must be very far from the Yu Hung Heaven and a rather safe place. Gong Hua Heaven? Is it really far from Yu Hung Heaven? Song Yongju asked. Yi Mo nodded. Theoretically, yes. I got this news from Jin Qianqing's ancestor. She was an immortal formation master and was thrown onto Luo Yu to set up formation, and he was killed by Lu Jingchuan. He definitely would want his descendants to be safe from Lu Jingchuan, so he probably chose a reliable place. If you get to the immortal realm and find it's very hard to get to Gong Hua Heaven, or it's not safe to go, we don't have to meet there. All in all, cultivation and safety matters first. So, what if we wait tens of thousands of years? As long as we have enough power, we will meet again. Yi Mo took out communication beads and gave everyone one, and the extras to Luo Yu. These are communication beads I made with extreme flame, star gold. You can use it, contact each other, and sense each other on Luo Yu. I don't know how far we will be in the immortal realm, but this is better than nothing. Seeing them not talk, Yi Mo felt sad too. Sometimes, he really wanted to just grow old with them at MOU City, but he kept feeling this calling, and that was he must keep cultivating. He must stand at the highest point. He knew that, even if he didn't cultivate, staying at MOU City will result him reaching truth realization state peak stage sooner or later. Other than this, he had a sense of desperation. Even if he stayed at Luo Yu and didn't grow in power, who knows if Lu Jingquan can send other people down. Casting these thoughts aside, Yi Mo said again, no matter how long it takes for me to come back, if you need to immortal ascend then do it immediately. I feel that even when I don't cultivate my power is increasing, I'm afraid I'll ascend before coming back to Mou City. As for the cultivation methods I gave you guys, don't worry about the latter parts. They came from 3-birth chant. The latter parts will be born itself. So, you must not reveal this cultivation method. Tell Yimo and them. This wasn't the first time Yimo said this. Everyone knew Yimo's cultivation method was very precious. It would have a different set of cultivation method based on the person's own learnings. Their current magics and techniques were gathered by Yi Mo, but in the immortal realm Yi Mo didn't even have his own. They would have to find their own. Yi Mo was about to leave Mou City, so they just stopped cultivation and played together for a month. A month later, Yi Mo left Mou City quietly. Nangong Village. Yi Mo came in here, and no one was able to notice. Yi Mo was certain that there was a level 1 immortal formation here. Before, he wouldn't be able to come in under the radar. From the outside, the Nangong Village didn't seem very big, but after coming in, he realized it was many times bigger than he had imagined. This was all because Chu Ju set up formation here. It was very quiet inside, and one could occasionally see a few disciples walking past. As soon as Yi Mo entered a defense formation in the backyard, a powerful spirit sense swept over. It stayed at where Yi Mo was for a long time before disappearing. Yi Mo was shook. He knew that Nangong Village was very powerful, but he didn't expect it was this powerful. That spirit sense was at least truth realization state level 9. Just what were they doing hiding all this power? Luckily, he only entered the formation and didn't break it. If he broke it, that spirit sense would have found him already. He wasn't afraid of trouble, but he didn't want everyone to know Mou City Lord snuck into Nangong Village. This damaged Mou City's reputation. Yi Mo just wanted to find if there was some teleportation tunnel here. He knew the chances were slim, but he felt uncomfortable if he didn't try. Yi Mo was more curious after seeing how powerful this place was. After that spirit sense disappeared, Yi Mo was more careful in here. 15 minutes later, he found that the backyard was the end. There were 3 doors, and they were all blocked by restriction. The middle door was the largest, and the ones on the 2 sides were smaller. Yi Mo couldn't scan his spirit sense in any of them, so he chose to go into the largest. Just when Yi Mo was about to move, a figure dashed over. Yi Mo quickly stopped himself. It was Yi Zifeng. Yi Zifeng's face was numb. He went into the left passage. Yi Mo immediately knew he must have some jade card to be able to enter so easily. What confused Yi Mo was that Yi Zifeng was only hollow spirit state when he last saw him, but in a few short years, he has body condensation state level 2. Yi Mo changed his mind. He went into the left door. These restrictions were level 9, but it was nothing for an immortal formation master. After entering the door, the environment changed. It was a spirit herb garden. There were quite some level 7 and level 8 spirit herbs here. This was definitely considered top-grade spirit herb garden. Even though he left most of the spirit herbs at Mou City, his Golden Page World spirit herb garden was much higher level than this. At the border of the garden was a 9-curved hallway, reminding Yi Mo of the same hallway at Ice God Forbidden Grounds. Yi Zifeng had disappeared. Yi Mo followed the hallway, and after a few hundred meters, a level 9 defense formation appeared before them. Yi Mo didn't go straight in. He had a feeling that no matter how careful he was, he would be found. Yi Mo's purple eye soul sever was at level 6 now. His spirit sense blades were invisible, and he gathered his own spirit sense spike. Spirit sense spike and soul spike was different. The soul spike attacked spirit sense, while the spirit sense spike was not for attack. It was for dealing with formation and restrictions that spirit sense couldn't scan in. Yi Mo's purple eye soul sever was at level 6 now. His spirit sense blades were invisible, and he gathered his own spirit sense spike. Spirit sense spike and soul spike was different. The soul spike attacked spirit sense, while the spirit sense spike was not for attack. It was for dealing with formation and restrictions that spirit sense couldn't scan in. Before, he could use spirit sense blades for that too, but there was two drawbacks. One was that it used too much spirit sense, and second, it caused too much commotion. If it was a formation someone was guarding, it would be easily noticed. Spirit sense spike didn't have this limitation. Of course, in order to stay stealthed when piercing formation with spirit sense spike, his own spirit sense had to be very powerful, and he also needed to be experienced in formation. At this moment, Yimo's spirit sense spike easily penetrated this level 9 formation and went inside the room. When Yimo came inside expressionlessly, Yimo guessed this wasn't a place he cultivated at. Now, his spirit sense showed that he was right. This room was simple. It was only a stone room that was 20 square meters. There was nothing else in the room but a cushioned seat. A male cultivator sat on the cushion. His head was very big, but his body was small. Yi Zifeng stood before the man and looked very respectful. The male cultivator studied Yi Zifeng for a long while before nodding happily. "Not bad. Your cultivation speed has been fast recently. I hope you can become the #1 person of the Nangong family, even Luo, you continent #1. Yi Zifeng bowed respectfully. Nangong Zifeng's life was saved, master. Zifeng would never disappoint master, nor the Nangong family. Hearing this, Yimo dazed. Yi Zifeng even changed his last name to Nangong. If Yi Beirong heard this, he might get crazy of anger. The big-headed cultivator nodded. "Very well. You're indeed the supporting pillar talent of our family. Nangong Xiaodai is the most prominent family member. She has nourishing with spirit root. You need to treat her well. Without her, you wouldn't be at where you are today." Yimo heard this and sighed. Nourishing wood element is like Su Jingwen's hidden spirit root. Before activation, one couldn't cultivate, but after activation, the cultivation speed would be extremely fast. Nourishing wood spirit root was very rare. Any nourishing spirit root of the 5 elements were very rare. Its cultivation speed wasn't as good as hidden spirit root, but was on par with pure spirit root. It also had an important attribute. It could help someone who doesn't have spirit root nurture a spirit root. Of course, this was unconditional. The person without spirit root must eat the top-grade spirit item of the 5 elements. If he ate a water element spirit item, he would need a water-nourishing spirit root. So this was extremely hard. Nangong Xiaodai was wood-nourishing spirit root. The reason Yi Zifeng could cultivate so fast without spirit root was clearly because he consumed top-grade wood element spirit item. He finally understood why Yi Zifeng didn't leave Nangong Xiaodai. Yimo sighed. He knew that the spirit root nurtured with nourishing wood spirit root was not only good but suitable for possession. Did this big-headed guy want to take over Yi Zifeng's body? Otherwise, why would he go help someone like Yi Zifeng? Why did he use Nangong Xiaodai and even top-grade wood element spirit item? Yimo's spirit sense carefully searched this cultivator. He immediately noticed that he almost didn't have a body. He was probably poisoned by a very powerful poison. After a while, his body would completely disappear. This guy was indeed preparing Yi Zifeng for possession. Yimo sighed. Although he knew the truth of things, he didn't plan to intervene. He didn't kill Yi Zifeng on Yiling's account, but he wasn't going to help Yi Zifeng. He abandoned Qingnana and undermined her innocence, and brought him into it as well. Yimo didn't know why Yi Zifeng became such a person, but he could guess that he probably suffered a lot trying to survive in South Peace State alone. But to Yimo, that wasn't an excuse at all. No matter how hard it was, he was an adult. There were many people on Luoyu who couldn't cultivate. Could he have had life harder than when he was young? He had no parents and had to find food everywhere. When he was taken by the old Taoist of magical herb sect, he had gone through his hardest moments. "Yes, master. Dai is my life. Even if I die, I wouldn't let her get injured," Yi Zifeng said with great certainty. The big-headed cultivator nodded. Very well, very well." The big-headed cultivator fell silent. After a while, he opened his eyes and said, "Zifeng, come here the middle of next month. I have a small dimension magic artifact I'm planning to give you." Sigh. "I'm probably about to ascend to the immortal realm." "It's a waste to take it to the immortal realm," Yimo sneered. The middle of next month was the Ghost Festival. essence spirit was loose, and it was the perfect time for possession. The big-headed cultivator was planning to wait a while, but perhaps seeing Yi Zifeng progress too fast, he didn't dare to keep waiting. His body was about to die, and his essence spirit wasn't very stable. If Yi Zifeng cultivated a little longer, he wouldn't be able to possess him. Yi Zifeng looked joyful and said, "Zifeng, thank Master." The big-headed cultivator waved his hand. "Zifeng, don't be so polite with Master. I can even give Xiao Dai to you. Others is nothing. Just remember you are the Nangong family member, and you're Nangong Fei's disciple. Otherwise, even if you ascend to the immortal realm, I won't let you go." "Yes, Zifeng will remember." There was a sliver of fear on Yi Zifeng's face. "Don't worry, just remember you're a member of the Nangong family."
Okay, you can go now.
The cultivator waved his hand. "Yes, Master, I will leave now." Yi Zifeng bowed respectfully and was about to leave. Nangong Fei suddenly thought of something and stopped him. "Zifeng, has there been much news about Mou City Yemo?" Yi Zifeng quickly said, "Not much. I went to Flowing Snake City once with Xiao Dai. I heard that Yemo is studying runes. I don't know why he is doing that, so I went to find out, and I realized that he could make level 11 runes after a mere 3 years. I really wonder what his head is made of. He's level 9 Pill King as well." Yemo was dazed. The highest level rune in the cultivation realm was level 12, since when could he make level 11 runes? He could barely make level 7 rune. He never even studied rune making. Oh. Nangong Fei frowned as though thinking why Yemo would make runes. As a pill master, he had endless spirit stones. Would he need to waste time to make runes? Yi Zifeng said affirmatively, "Yes, Master." Xiao Dai felt this was strange too. "She took me to an auction there, and he bought a rune like this. I was planning to go see sect leader, but Master called me, so I came over." Nangong Fei nodded. "Show me that level 11 rune first." "Yes, Master." Yi Zifeng carefully took out a pale yellow rune and said, "Master, look, this." Suddenly, Yi Zifeng palmed over the rune. The rune brought out a yellow light and instantly stuck to Nangong Fei. "What are you doing?" Nangong Fei was furious, not expecting the obedient Yi Zifeng to suddenly do this. Yi Zifeng sneered. "What am I doing?" "Nangong Fei, do I need to tell you what I want to do?" As he spoke, the rune turned into a veil completely binding Nangong Fei's essence spirit. Then, Yi Zifeng released his magic artifact and smashed at Nangong Fei. As he spoke, the rune turned into a veil completely binding Nangong Fei's essence spirit. Then, Yi Zifeng released his magic artifact and smashed at Nangong Fei. Yi Mo thought and entered the formation without hesitation, recording with a crystal ball. When Nangong Fei was there, he didn't dare to go in, as that Nangong Fei was too powerful and that formation was connected to his mind. Yi Zifeng didn't have that power. Yi Mo was certain Yi Zifeng wouldn't be able to know he came in. Nangong Fei couldn't even care about himself now. How could he care that someone came into his formation? Nangong Fei really didn't understand why Yi Zifeng, who was very respectful to him, would suddenly attack. He taught Yi Zifeng cultivation very devotedly and married Nangong Xiaodai to him. He knew Yemo's origin very clearly. He was Yemo's brother and came from a world that couldn't cultivate at all. This tame disciple who didn't even dare to speak loudly in front of him now suddenly attacked him. Plus, Yi Zifeng was about to leave, but he called him back. If he was going to attack, why didn't he do it earlier? Did he know he would call him back? Crack. Yi Zifeng's magic artifact smashed on Nangong Fei's body, completely breaking it apart. Nangong Fei wasn't injured much though. However, he roared with fury, "Yi Zifeng, are you crazy? You dare to use level 11 spirit binding rune against me, you bastard." Seeing Yi Zifeng attack, without hesitation, Nangong Fei knew it was pointless to be angry. He suddenly calmed down and looked coldly at him. "Why are you killing me? I saved your life and married Xiaodai to you. If you have no reason, you will be distraught with Heart Demon forever." Yi Mo took out 2 more runes and put it on Nangong Fei's essence spirit. They were level 10 only. Then Yi Zifeng sneered, "If I don't kill you, the middle of next month would be when I die." You old fart are really disgusting. Nangong Shaodai is your descendant, yet you want to take my body. Are you going to shamelessly marry your great-great-granddaughter? How did you know? Nangong Fei asked in shock. He didn't expect a clueless idiot like Yi Zifeng would know. Yi Mo was also confused too. I don't know, Yi Zifeng said coldly, but I've gone through too many things. I was a family lord, do you know? I was a city lord, do you know? I have also knelt down and begged for food like a dog. When I was fighting for food like a dog, I realized something. No matter when I was family lord, city lord, or a dog, something would never change. What is it? Nangong Fei asked subconsciously. Yi Zifeng seemed to be talking to himself. When I was family lord, they were just using my force. I was allowed to be city lord because I wouldn't betray that city, and I would work wholeheartedly for that place. Just like fighting for food like a dog, that was an opportunity one had to fight for. From that day, I knew there is no free food in the world. Brotherhood? Husband and wife. Pfft, these are the most disgusting excuses. Yi Zifeng stared at Nangong Fei and sneered, you saved me because I accidentally would element spirit item, but you didn't tell me I did that. You just said you liked my persistence and took me back to the Nangong village. You even intentionally let Nangong Shaodai get close to me and fall in love with me. Then you made her nurture spirit root for me and take me in as disciple. You taught me cultivation method and cultivation. Nangong Fei, the moment I was abandoned, I knew there wouldn't be anything that was free in this world. Yet you wanted me to believe there was. Do you think I will? Seeing Nangong Fei's bleak face, Yi Zifeng said in contempt, in order to find the side effect of nurtured spirit root, I went to many markets and looked through countless jade slips. Finally, in a small stall, I found a jade slip. It said that nurtured spirit roots were very suitable for possession. Nangong Fei, the more you cultivate, the smaller your body grows? You can ascend with your body? Can it pass divine damnation? If I'm not wrong, you just want to possess me. What if you guess wrong? Nangong Fei said numbly. Yi Zifeng laughed. So what if I guess wrong? I'm just killing a Nangong Fei, so what? Nangong Fei wasn't angry this time and said calmly, these few years you've been finding an opportunity to ambush me, right? You're right, but pity you haven't given me an opportunity. Even today, I almost didn't get the opportunity. Nangong Fei seemed unhappy that he only got to ambush Nangong Fei now. You're evil indeed. If I didn't call you back today, would you still come back? Nangong Fei asked emotionlessly. Yi Zifeng nodded, you're right, I indeed only have one chance, and you have to create it for me. Otherwise, faced against an old monster like you, I wouldn't die many times already. Luckily, you gave me this opportunity today. If I didn't succeed, I would find an opportunity before middle of next month. But you gave me the opportunity today, so I need to thank you. If I knew I would die to a minor figure like you, I might as well fight with Yi Mo head-on and die in his hands. Nangong Fei sighed. Yi Zifeng sneered, fight with Yi Mo? Don't overestimate yourself. Yi Mo killed 11 Truth Realization State cultivators of Pill City, including a Truth Realization State peak stage with low-grade immortal artifact. You need to know he was only Truth Realization State primary stage at that time. Now he's Truth Realization State peak stage. Even if all of Nangong family went, they would get slaughtered, much less just you. Seeing Nangong Fei not talk, Yi Zifeng continued, I don't know what exactly the secret of the Nangong family is, but I know that Nangong family isn't as simple as this. I will find the secret slowly. Nangong Fei was agitated this time. Yi Zifeng waved his hand, you don't need to get angry. It's good that the Nangong family resources are given to me. I will help you kill the Yi Mo. Nangong Fei suddenly laughed, so what if you killed me? Your wife was still fucked by your big brother. However, Yi Zifeng sneered, you're wrong. I'm going to kill Yi Mo not because he took my wife. Chung Nana is not bad looking, but Yi Mo wouldn't be interested in her, and nor would she think that way. Seeing Nangong Fei look at him in disbelief, Yi Zifeng said coldly, I'm going to kill him because there's a huge secret on him. I will stand at the top, so I must take his secret. You're cruel indeed. This way, even if you kill Yi Mo, no one would say anything. Nangong Fei looked at Yi Zifeng like an idiot. Kill Emo. Who did this guy think he was? If Emo was that easily killed, he would died countless times. Emo reached truth realization state in a few years. Who doesn't know there are secrets on him? But why does no one dare to touch him? Because all those who tried are dead. Yi Zifeng didn't explain. He knew Nangong Fei didn't believe him, but he had his way. He turned to Nangong Fei and said, "You know why I haven't killed you yet? I know you really do have a dimensional magic artifact. Give that to me, and I promise I won't annihilate the Nangong family." Nangong Fei said calmly, "I do have it, and I can give it to you, but I really want to know how are you going to kill Emo?" Emo heard this and realized immediately that Nangong Fei was asking this for him. He probably knew by now he was here. Yi Zifeng smiled. "I have Nangong Shaodai. I heard he really liked women who are in love with him and the South Peace State 10 beauties." Nangong Fei suddenly yelled. Nangong Fei suddenly yelled. Rumble. An explosion sounded. Yi Zifeng barely released his defense magic artifact but was blasted away. He looked at the dissipated Nangong Fei in shock and realized that even with the body and his essence spirit was bound, a truth realization state cultivator wasn't someone a body condensation state could threaten. Yi Zifeng's face changed a few times before having to accept the reality. He cleared the body inside the room and left. Emo didn't expect Yi Zifeng's person had twisted to this extent. He would do anything necessary to reach his target. Looking at Yi Zifeng leave quickly, Emo shook his head in contempt. Even if he didn't know this, it was impossible to ambush him with Nangong Shaodai. Was Yi Zifeng dumb or arrogant? Just as Nangong Fei said, if he was so easily ambushed, he would have died countless times already. Emo walked to the only cushion in this room. Yi Zifeng opened it and saw nothing. Yi Zifeng was body condensation state, but he was still used to looking with his eyes. This wasn't a habit that one could easily change. Emo was much more experienced than Yi Zifeng and scanned with his spirit sense. He saw there was a steedle formation there. From this, Emo could tell that Nangong Fei was at least a level 9 formation grandmaster. Emo wasn't surprised. Chu Juyu's formation heritage came from the Nangong family. Other people might never get in, but Emo just spent a few minutes and got in. Inside, he was in this tunnel. There were some formation flags hanging in the air. They looked very plain, but Emo knew if he wanted to go down, he would have to use them. If one just stepped foot or used the wrong formation flag, it would immediately trigger a level 9 attack formation. It didn't affect Emo much, but if some other cultivator triggered it, he would have to await death, even if it was a truth realization state level 9. There was some distance to this tunnel, and although there was spirit sense barrier formation, Emo's spirit sense could still reach the bottom of the tunnel. There was a layer of black rocks, and there was more formation blocking. This was the most secret place Emo had seen. Even Chu Xiaoyi's seal wasn't this heavily fortified. With Nangong Fei guarding here personally, Emo felt perhaps the secret that Nangong family cultivators could cultivate so fast was here. But when he saw what was here, was dazed. Even if he saw a level 4 immortal formation or a seal flag, he wouldn't be this shook. When he came to the bottom and broke the trap formation, there was about tens of square km of spirit pond. This wasn't where cultivators cultivated. The spirit ponds were in layers, and each layer had countless eggs. Emo knew most of the eggs here. There was not only spirit-devouring bug, but also fire-eating bug, and even some soul-devouring bug. Nangong family was a bug cultivation family. Emo was truly shook. Where did they get all these ferocious bugs? Chu Juyu annihilated the fire-eating bug demon. Although he got away eventually, but Emo knew clearly the hatred between the two. Yet at where Chu Juyu lived, there were fire-eating bugs. Even Emo couldn't understand what was going on. There were so many layers and spirit ponds here. Just how many spirit ranges and spirit items were needed to sustain this? What was the spirit liquid at the bottom of the spirit pond? How could it feed so many spirit bugs? If all these spirit bugs lived, how many would there be? It wouldn't just be 1,000 km, it would be many thousands or even 10,000. Emo didn't even dare to keep thinking. unless his heaven flame 9 suns reached 3 or more suns, or he wouldn't be able to completely annihilate them. If the spirit bugs were commanded, he wouldn't be able to annihilate them all even if he had 3 suns. Yemo suddenly thought of the spirit-devouring bugs. He realized they didn't come out for no reason. It was probably related to Nangong Fei. No wonder he cared so much about him and asked what he was doing. His heaven flame 9 suns was a big counter to Nangong Fei. Seeing all the squirming eggs, Yemo felt disgusted. There was countless sticky liquids everywhere. If all these went out, it would be more catastrophic than the last disaster. Yemo released heaven flame 9 suns without hesitation. 2 purple suns instantly loomed over these spirit ponds. Countless eggs turned to dust. Eventually, all the spirit liquid were roasted dry. Yemo knew the things inside the pond weren't ordinary, but he wasn't interested in checking. The only thing Yemo didn't get was if Nangong Fei let out the spirit-devouring bugs. Why didn't he go as well? Why did he choose such a coincidental timing too? After all the spirit bugs and ponds were destroyed, scorched rocks were shown. Yemo scanned his spirit sense around here and immediately found a place that wasn't quite right. He found an incomplete formation. Yemo opened it and found a huge formation heart. There were countless formation flags arranged inside. They were all made with top-grade materials. Yemo took a cold breath in. This was a level 1 immortal formation. This Nangong Fei wasn't a level 9 formation grandmaster, but a level 1 immortal formation master. The main thing was that formation disc in the immortal formation was definitely not from the cultivation realm. Yemo guessed that even that Jin Jinlin wouldn't be able to make it. An incomplete level 1 immortal formation was just to stabilize this formation disc. Yemo felt it was definitely not good if it was stabilized. He even suspected that this was a backup measure for Lu Jingquan to come down. Without hesitation, Yemo took the formation disc and the incomplete immortal formation. He just threw them all at the golden page world and sealed it. But Yemo wasn't happy. If Lu Jingquan could have a second way of coming down, he might have a third. Yemo's guess was right. This formation disc was indeed a backup measure for Lu Jingquan to come down. But Yemo didn't know that even though Lu Jingquan had cultivated countless years in the immortal realm, he only got 2 of these runes to travel from immortal realm to cultivation realm, and this was because he was lucky. After Yemo put away the formation disc, he looked around everywhere and didn't find anything else. Then he left the village in a worried mood. He didn't even have any mood to check anywhere else in the Nangong village. He desperately wanted to ascend to the immortal realm and cultivate until he killed Lu Jingquan. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to rest easy. Even if he ascends, Mou City was still on Luo continent. If Lu Jingquan comes down, there was nothing he could do to protect Mou City. Yemo believed with his time formation disc, he would be able to cultivate very fast if he had resources in the immortal realm. At this moment, Yemo trusted his instinct more and more. He guessed that the village probably didn't have a teleportation formation to the small world before, but his instinct told him he must come here. At this moment, Yemo trusted his instinct more and more. He guessed that the village probably didn't have a teleportation formation to the small world before, but his instinct told him he must come here. Yemo quickly left the village. If he wanted to tear open space, he would have to go Heartless Sea. Otherwise, he didn't know if destabilizing space here would affect South Peace State. As for Yi Zifeng, after knowing his target was him, he didn't worry about Mou City. He wouldn't give Yi Zifeng a second chance. No matter what, if Yi Zifeng dared to attack him again, he would kill him without hesitation. Blue Moon rose rapidly in speed. In just 5 days, Yemo entered the depth of the Heartless Sea. Yemo was planning on going deeper before tearing open space, but a cultivator having divine damnation caught his attention. When Yemo saw this cultivator, his divine damnation was near the end. He was covered in black, but he had passed the divine damnation. The cultivator saw Yemo come over and just changed outfits while waiting. "Brother Yi," this cultivator saluted with his fists to Yemo politely. Yemo nodded. It was Meng Zhen who was chased over to this cultivation realm by Fang Yizong. Yimo had some good impression of Meng Zhen mainly because he saved Ling Zhongtian. From this, it was clear he was a good-hearted person, or he wouldn't save Ling Zihongtian for no reason. Brother Meng, I heard you brought the heavily injured Ling Qianbei back. Yimo, thank you. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. You know Dao, friendling? Meng Zhen asked in confusion while being shocked that Yi Mo called Ling Zhongtian Qianbei despite being so much more powerful than him. Yi Mo smiled. Ling Zhongtian is the supporting pillar of North Far State, and someone I admire. Yi Mo is very grateful that Brother Meng saved Brother Lin. Meng Zhen didn't ask anymore. Just when he was about to bid Yi Mo farewell and ascend to the immortal realm, Yi Mo said again, "Congratulations on immortal ascension, Brother Meng." Meng Zhen smiled. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for me, but it's very easy for Brother Yi. Last time at West Extreme State, Meng Zhen thanked Brother Yi for helping me. I need to tell you, Brother Yi, after you ascend, you need to be careful of that Fang Yizong. His sect is a big sect with a long history. It's called Demon Lin's sect. They definitely have heritage in the immortal realm. Be careful. Yi Mo nodded. He didn't worry. He didn't even ascend to the immortal realm, and he already offended so many people. But he said, "Thank you, Brother Meng. Did you find the person you were looking for?" Meng Zhen released his qi, and the immortal ascension spirit cloud came over. He shook his head. No, I was planning to go to South Peace State to look, but I accidentally sensed the immortal ascension, divine damnation on the way. I think I wouldn't be able to find qi or even if I go South Peace State, so I decided to immortal ascension. The spirit cloud brought Meng Zhen up. Meng Zhen waved his hand. Brother Yi, we'll meet again in the immortal realm. Seeing this, Yi Mo had some sudden enlightenment. He sat down where Meng Zhen ascended. A day later, Yi Mo got up. He didn't even cultivate, but he was truth realization state level 9 now. Yi Mo shook his head. He was very speechless, but this was his three-birth chant. Later on, even if he didn't cultivate, it would run itself. It wasn't much to begin with. The more powerful his spirit sense became, the more powerful the self-cultivation of three-birth chant was. Yi Mo also knew he reached truth realization state level 9 partially because of Meng Zhen's immortal ascension spirit cloud. Now that Yi Mo had decided to ascend to the immortal realm, he didn't mind his powers increasing. He stepped foot in mid-air and burst out his cultivation essence. He didn't even tear the space, but space had begun to distort. Yi Mo knew tearing open space was very hard, so he didn't hold back. He used all of his cultivation essence and ripped in the air. Ever since reaching truth realization state tertiary stage, he rarely used all of his cultivation essence. Yi Mo had some experience in tearing open space. He grabbed the dimension barrier immediately. The rattling space started to distort, space within 1,000 km radius started to destabilize, and this was expanding. This was almost on par with the sea quake before. Yi Mo rejoiced that he didn't do this at South Peace State. As all of Yi Mo's cultivation essence and spirit sense exploded, there was a fissure between his hands, but it instantly healed up again. Yi Mo thought his power should be much higher than Chu Jiyu, and since Chu Jiyu could tear open space, he should be fine. But now he realized he was completely wrong. Yi Mo wasn't going to stop halfway. He burned a mouthful of essence blood and ripped with all his might. Space rattled again. The distortion scared away Spirit Beast within a 10,000 km radius. An extremely small crack was opened again, but Yi Mo didn't stop there this time. He used cultivation essence even more. The crack grew larger and larger as it made an ear-screeching sound. Yi Mo dashed inside quickly. Yi Mo didn't expect tearing open the void was this hard. It seemed the sea corner was really a sealed-off dimension, and not the void. Yi Mo admired the guy who made break space runes. How did he make such an absurd rune? Yi Mo was thinking of going into the void first, and then find a way out from there. But when Yi Mo flew into the void he tore open, he immediately noticed something was wrong. An extremely dangerous tearing force came charging at his side. Yi Mo twisted and dodged this force without hesitation. But the next moment, Two more extremely terrifying power charged at him. If he was smashed by such power, he would be killed for certain, and even torn to pieces. This definitely wasn't Void Fisher. Without hesitation, Yemo wanted to go into the Golden Page world, but as soon as this thought came up, that power smashed into him. A tearing sensation came, and Yemo was blasted away by this power, splashing blood everywhere. He felt extremely weak, and just when he was about to enter the Golden Page world again, there was a piercing light. Yemo immediately knew he had come to another realm. After eating a few pills, Yemo went into the Golden Page world to heal. He was certain his method was wrong. Void wasn't torn open like this. He didn't believe Chu Jiu was more powerful than him. With his God-state body refinement, he was almost killed and couldn't go into Golden Page world. How could Chu Jiu dodge that? Chu Jiu definitely used another way to tear open the void and get to Earth. Yemo went into the Golden Page world and felt scared. After tearing open the dimension barrier, he didn't go into the Void Fisher nor another realm directly. He flew in a terrifying tearing force for a while. If he didn't have God's state body refinement, he would have been killed already. Ignorance was really lethal. Yemo had the small sapling in the Golden Page world, but he didn't want to use it. Last time the sapling healed him, it was a little withered. If he used the sapling, now he would recover quickly, but it wasn't good for the sapling. It was too small. Yemo felt the sapling would benefit him greatly in the future. Luckily, Yemo had some immortal crystals and many top-grade recovery pills. Two days later, Yemo recovered by more than half. Only now did he realize how terrifying the tearing wounds were. If it was some other wound, he would have fully recovered already. 2 days later, Yemo recovered by more than half. Only now did he realize how terrifying the tearing wounds were. If it was some other wound, he would have fully recovered already. Yemo didn't want to stay in the Golden Page world anymore. He desperately wanted to know where he was now. What appeared before Yemo was a barren world. There was half soft, half sturdy soil. Was this an abandoned wasteland? Yemo got on Blue Moon and quickly left here. He wanted to find someone and know where he was. 5 days later, Yemo came back to where he left with a bad face. He realized that where he was now had no life, nor plants. There were no spirit beast, nor even water. All there was this earth and light. Yemo was certain this was no cultivation realm or small world. After searching for half a month, Yemo was completely disappointed. Yemo suspected that he had gone in a ragged world. This world had been destroyed. The only thing that wasn't Earth here was a round pillar in every direction that his spirit sense couldn't scan into. There were 5 altogether. Yemo tried to move it into his Golden Page world, but he couldn't. He couldn't damage the pillars either. After 20 days of trying, Yemo realized that he might have really gone into someone's destroyed world. Luckily, this world's owner was dead, or he would be very vulnerable. Yemo sighed. He really didn't want to tear space again, but he had to do it, or he wouldn't be able to go out. Just when Yemo was prepared to go into his Golden Page world at any time and used all his cultivation essence to tear, he was dazed. He couldn't touch the space here at all. In his worry, Yemo tried many times, but the reality made him disappointed. He couldn't even sense the dimensional barrier here, much less touch it. Yemo couldn't keep calm anymore. He was certain he had entered a realm higher level than cultivation realm. In the next month, Yemo ran around like crazy here. Every while he would try tearing, but he couldn't tear open any place here. Yemo realized that this was a sealed-off world, like the sea corner. Like the sea corner? Yemo suddenly remembered that Mu Wuhue said there was a space like the sea corner called the Heaven's Edge. Was this it? But soon Yemo ended that thought. He could tear open sea corner, but he couldn't even touch the space barrier here. This definitely wasn't Heaven's Edge. Plus, if one had to tear the void open to go into Heaven's Edge, no one would know about it. 3 months later, Yemo had calmed down. There was no use if he continued. It was impossible to go find Mu Shaoran now. He wouldn't even be able to get back to Mou City. Luckily, he told them before he left Mou City that he might not go back and just ascend to the immortal realm. The only thing he could do was cultivate to truth realization state peak stage and ascend. If he couldn't even ascend here, he would really have to die of old age here in this barren world. Thus, Yemo went into the Golden Page world and started setting up spirit gathering formation. He had about 70 immortal crystals. Luckily, he was truth realization state level 9. It wasn't hard to reach truth realization state peak stage. He didn't have much immortal crystals left, but he still sued 7 to activate the time formation disc. Yemo left 20 and used the other 40 or so to cultivate. Cultivation was timeless, and soon, Yemo forgot he was here once he settled his mind into cultivation. The only thing that could accompany Yemo was Shadowless. Shadowless seemed to know Yemo was in a tricky situation and didn't dare to stay next to the bitter bamboo. It flew far away and left the bitter bamboo completely to Yemo. With Yemo's current power, his full-effort cultivation made the spirit chi inside extreme-grade spirit range form spirit mist, which was devoured by him. If there weren't the immortal crystals here, no matter how many extreme-grade spirit range there were, it wouldn't be enough for Yemo's cultivation. A few extreme-grade spirit ranges were quickly used up in a few years. When the immortal crystals on the time formation disc had been used up, Yemo was still cultivating. He was truth realization state level 9 tertiary stage, just one step away from truth realization state peak stage. The time formation disc stopped, and he used up his 40 or so immortal crystals. Yemo didn't stop. He just used spirit range to cultivate and didn't use the 20 or so immortal crystals. Another year later, Yemo reached truth realization state peak stage in the pile of spirit ranges. Truth realization state peak stage was something all cultivators pursued, but upon reaching truth realization state peak stage, Yemo didn't rejoice. He was worried he wouldn't be able to sense divine damnation here. If that was the case, there would really be nothing he could do. Yemo immediately came out of the Golden Page world. What made him rejoice was that he sensed the divine damnation. Yemo breathed easy. He was so scared he wouldn't be able to sense divine damnation here. The only thing he was a little worried about was that the divine damnation didn't even feel as powerful as his hollow spirit state divine damnation. But regardless, he sensed divine damnation. Yemo threw out 4 extreme-grade spirit range. There were a lot of extreme-grade spirit ranges in the Golden Page world, but Yemo used them too quickly. He only had 10 left now. Yemo set up spirit gathering formation as quickly as possible and used the 3-birth chant like crazy. The first wave of divine damnation came quickly. Rumble. A heavy sound blasted in the air. The colors of the sky didn't change at all. Then, there was a chopstick-sized lightning arc that struck Yemo. Yemo's heart sunk. He had never such immortal ascension divine damnation. The sound was so terrifying, but it was only chopstick-sized. When the second blast sounded, and not a single lightning arc fell, Yemo knew things weren't good. He quickly packed up the 4 spirit range and flew to where the divine damnation landed. When the 5th thud sounded, there were finally 3 chopstick-sized lightning arcs that landed on Yemo. Despite its size, it gave Yemo quite some benefits. Yemo didn't have the mood to feel it, however. There was only one thought in his mind. He had to quickly find where the divine damnation landed and use the immortal ascension divine damnation's power to tear open space. Otherwise, he would never get the chance again. He guessed that his immortal ascension divine damnation was probably blocked by this space. Luckily, the laws of this dimension were incomplete and thus couldn't hide his chi. Otherwise, he might really die of old age here. Yemo was right. He didn't fly very far, and the 7th lightning arc fell. These were the last 2 arcs. If these 2 disappeared and the space stabilized here again, he would never be able to leave. If he couldn't convert cultivation essence to immortal essence, he wouldn't be able to progress. Even if he cultivated for another 10,000 years, he would still be truth realization state peak stage. So, Yemo was truly desperate. He burned little less than his essence blood and used 5-element mobility with full power darting towards where the divine damnation came from. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The sound grew louder, but Emo saw the lightning arcs that squeezed and were getting smaller and smaller. When the 9th wave sounded, Emo flew desperately towards the direction. As the 9th arc was about to end, Emo ran his cultivation essence like crazy and grabbed at the void barrier, here about to tear it. This effort didn't disappoint Emo. The space indeed became very unstable here. Emo touched the dimensional barrier. He used all of his cultivation essence and spirit sense to tear as hard as he could on the two sides. This effort didn't disappoint Emo. The space indeed became very unstable here. Emo touched the dimensional barrier. He used all of his cultivation essence and spirit sense to tear as hard as he could on the two sides. He kept slicing out spirit sense blades too. It didn't matter if it was useful or not. Emo was like a drowning man grabbing a floating board. The loosened dimensional barrier grew larger and larger, and a rainbow spirit cloud seeped in, swooping Emo away. Emo rejoiced. He knew this was Immortal Ascension's spirit cloud. He devoured the immortal spirit chi of the spirit cloud like crazy, trying to recover his power. The after effect of burning essence blood was very serious. So many cultivators didn't want to burn essence blood. It would not only make it hard to cultivate higher, and would also destabilize essence spirit. Emo rarely burned essence blood, but in order to escape from that sealed dimension, he burned essence blood many times. If he didn't quickly use the spirit cloud to recover, it might affect his cultivation in the immortal realm. Thud. Emo was thrown on the ground like a sandbag. Immortal spirit chi came. Emo's heart shook. He knew he really ascended. He happily devoured the immortal spirit chi to nourish his wounds. He didn't even want to crawl up. An injured earth immortal. He's laying here. He doesn't seem to be dead yet, a voice sounded. Emo heard it clearly. He knew earth immortal was hollow immortal. He scanned with spirit sense. It was two cultivators. They were both hollow, immortal power. Emo crawled up with difficulty. He saluted with his fists. Friends, I was hunted here. May I ask where this is? Not right. The cultivator, who called Emo Earth Immortal, studied. Emo, you're saying he's not Earth Immortal. He's a truth realization state cultivator, right? He just ascended here? The other cultivator added. The hollow immortal nodded. That's right. He probably just ascended here and didn't go through the Immortal Ascension Palace. The Immortal Ascension Palace, or many realms, can't take Immortal Ascension cultivators. This can't mean he just ascended, right? The other cultivator asked, but there was some fire in his eyes. The two completely ignored Emo. Emo shook his head and released his blue moon. Since these two guys didn't want to answer, he couldn't be bothered asking. Near low-grade immortal artifact, flying magic artifact? This is good. The first hollow immortal stopped. Emo frowned and stopped, but he didn't talk. Your cultivation essence is far from being converted to immortal essence. You're a newly ascended cultivator, right? The hollow immortal studied Emo and asked. Emo didn't want conflict and nodded. That's right. I just ascended. The two glanced at each other and nodded.
Emo had a bad feeling.
He ate a few pills and was ready to fight at any time. You're saying you ascended here and not from the Immortal Ascension Palace. The cultivator's tone became excited. So what? Emo frowned. Haha, we're really lucky. That hollow immortal laughed and grabbed at Emo. Emo was shook. He didn't understand why this cultivator suddenly attacked here. Could one not ascend here? But Emo didn't expect that as soon as this hollow immortal reached out his hand, he stopped and struggled to turn back. Sui pulled out a white spear from the hollow immortal and said coldly, "There's only one pocket world. Which one of us will get it?" Hearing this, Emo immediately realized. The two knew he had a small world on him. How did this guy know? Was it because he ascended in a place other than the Immortal Ascension Palace? Sui looked coldly at Emo. "Give me the pocket world. I'll leave you a complete body." Emo sneered, but he didn't attack immediately. He asked, I can do that, but I really want to know how you know I have small world? Hearing this, there was more surprise and joy in Su Yi's eyes. He didn't explain to Yi Mo how he knew. His white spear drew a circle, and then it flew over at Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't feel the binding of domain at all, and sneered. This guy didn't even have domain, and wanted to kill him. When he released Zisu and tried to expand his domain, he was dazed. The domain he could extend in the cultivation realm was only a faint shadow here. Not good. Yi Mo immediately realized that the laws of the world in the immortal realm was much more stronger than the cultivation realm. He couldn't extend his domain now at all. The white spear was before Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't dare to hesitate. He hacked out Zisu with full power. Rumble. There was a huge explosion. If this clash was in the cultivation realm, the space nearby would have been shattered already, but there wasn't even a ripple in space here. The terrifying immortal essence of the white spear came. Zisu almost flew away, and Yi Mo was swept a few hundred meters away. He spat a mouthful of blood before even landing. Su Yi didn't take the hit too well. He was hacked tens of meters away before stopping. Yi Mo cursed. If he was at full power and this guy was underestimating him, he could heavily injure Su Yi. But his injuries were too heavy, and he still hadn't recovered. Su Yi didn't expect that he didn't have much of an upper hand in that clash. But he looked at Yi Mo with more fervent eyes. Clearly, he thought Yi Mo was this powerful because he had Pocket World. He also liked Yi Mo's purple kitchen knife. His white spear was his only low-grade immortal artifact, and it was rather good quality amongst low-grade immortal artifact. Yi Mo's kitchen knife could clash head-on with his spear without being damaged. This meant that the kitchen knife was quite good, at least low-grade immortal artifact. Thinking that if he killed Yi Mo, the Pocket World and kitchen knife would be his, Xu Yi snarled. He shook his white spear, and countless white arrows flew out. They brought howling sounds and surrounded Yi Mo in all directions. Amidst the white arrow rain, a huge white spear dragon opened his mouth biting at Yi Mo. Yi Mo released octagonal cauldron without hesitation. He didn't have enough cultivation essence break, through his spirit sense was very powerful. He also released tens of lightning sword. They were black lightning. Su Yi's eyes lit up even more. Yi Mo had good thing one after another. This octagonal cauldron was also very good. All these good things were in the hands of a truth realization state insect. This truth realization state insect was too lucky. But the next moment, he didn't have the expression of surprise and joy anymore. The lightning sword had completely surrounded the white spear dragon. The spear dragon made a sharp howl. Su Yi's face went pale. Lightning cultivator? He didn't expect Yi Mo was a lightning cultivator and had such an absurd lightning cultivation essence. His white spear was this powerful because it contained his essence blood and part of his essence spirit. Such magic artifact feared lightning cultivators the most. Su Yi knew that even though Yi Mo's power wasn't as strong as him, but he was countered. Plus, his octagonal cauldron didn't fear his white arrow rain at all. Su Yi retreated quickly. He let out a flying sword rune. He wanted to find help to kill Yi Mo. He wasn't going to let such a wealthy cultivator leave. As soon as Su Yi sent off the rune, Zisu hacked over. Zisu hacked over. Illusion Cloud Domain Kill Strike. He couldn't form his own domain, but he could use the Zisu Sword Force to form a very small sword domain. Even though his range of the domain was reduced, it was still powerful. Su Yi didn't plan to keep fighting with Yi Mo. He was ready to release Fireball to burn the body first so others wouldn't be able to tell he did it. But just after he retreated, Zisu hacked over. Xu Yi struck back with his white spear without hesitation. He knew Yi Mo's cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence, so he wasn't worried. But immediately, he realized that his white spear didn't go as fast as he had thought. It was stopped by Yi Mo's purple sword chi, sword domain. Su Yi just said this, and Zisu completely broke him apart. Yet at this moment, his white spear hadn't even touched Zisu. An essence spirit flew out quickly, but Shadowless was ready. How could Emo let go of hollow immortal essence spirit? Shadowless quickly ate the essence spirit, and Emo picked up 2 storage ring. Just when Emo wanted to burn the 2 bodies, there were ripples in space. Emo immediately knew people came over. He didn't dare to wait at all, and disappeared in a dashing light. He sensed space ripples because he learned it for catching corner soul weed. In the cultivation realm before, no one was enough to make him run, so that experience was useless. But now, Emo put it to use. Emo just left a few seconds, and 2 figures landed here. Su-yi is dead. Mangrong is killed too, the latter one said, and asked his friend Brother Fan. The cultivator definitely wouldn't be very far, but I'm afraid that person is at least hollow immortal tertiary stage. If we chase, the cultivator said without hesitation. Brother Fan shook his head. Mangrong wasn't killed by someone else. He was killed by Su-yi. Su-yi was killed by someone else. The cultivator looked at Brother Fan in confusion. He really was killed by Su-yi, but Mangrong and Su-yi are the closest. The 2 always grouped together. Why would Su-yi killed Mangrong? Brother Fan thought for a moment and said, I'm very shocked that Su-yi killed Mangrong. There can only be 2 reasons for this. 1, both of them found a top-grade treasure. 2nd, there was conflict between the 2. The other cultivator nodded. Brother Fan, you're right. Mangrong was ambushed by Su-yi. Was there something good? Su-yi killed Mangrong and was caught by someone else? Brother Fan nodded. Very likely, someone who came later took all the goods. Should we chase? It wasn't long since Su-yi notified us. That person could kill Su-yi in such a short time. Would he be golden immortal power? The cultivator asked with uncertainty. Clearly, he was scared he would lose his life chasing that cultivator who killed Su-yi. Brother Fan shook his head. Impossible. If he was a golden immortal, he wouldn't leave behind Su-yi's magic artifact. Su-yi's magic artifact is a low-grade immortal artifact. Even a golden immortal wouldn't casually throw it away. The 2 looked at each other and nodded. Brother Fan took Su-yi's white spear and then flew rapidly towards the direction Emo went. Emo had experienced too much. He wasn't able to confirm if the people behind would be able to chase up to him, so after dashing some distance, he decisively went underground and then into the Golden Page world. A few seconds later, 2 figures landed. The chi disappeared here. Brother Fan frowned and threw out a gray spirit beast. The spirit beast circled around a few times and called. What do we do? The other cultivator asked. Brother Fan hesitated and said, he probably got away. There wouldn't be anything good at Weak Wind Hill. There's no need to waste time here. I heard that Goddess Go Yen would be coming to Bai Immortal City to celebrate Bai Immortal City's forgery tournament. She would hold a feast inviting all of the cultivators in the city. We can also go get some free Winfeng wine. This is a rare opportunity. The other cultivator heard this and gulped down some saliva before nodding. It said that Winfeng wine is very delicious and can stabilize essence spirit. I wonder if it's true. I've never drank it before. Neither have I. Let's go. Brother Fan agreed, and the 2 quickly left here. In the Golden Page world, Emo didn't even want to come out and check. He was heavily injured right now, and recovery was the most important thing. He opened the 2 storage ring and wasn't very excited. They 2 even wanted his blue moon. Clearly, they weren't wealthy. Emo was right. The immortal crystals combined were only about 1,000. There were a few immortal crystals that looked better than the rest. Emo guessed they were middle-grade immortal crystals. As for pills, Emo only found 2 lowest-level immortal pills. The rest were heaven-grade level 9 pills. These 1,000 immortal crystals weren't much for others, but it was a huge fortune for Emo. Emo put 7 immortal crystals into the time formation disk and started recovery and cultivation. Originally, 7 immortal crystals could last a month, and it would be about 9 years inside the time formation disk. But when Emo used 3 birth chant at full power, the immortal crystals were being used up rapidly. In a short 3 days, the immortal crystals were used up completely, and it had only been a year or so inside the time formation disk. If this was some other place, Yemo's wounds would have healed, and he wouldn't keep using time formation disc to cultivate, but this was the immortal realm. He was noticed that he didn't come from a mortal ascension palace, and thus was almost killed because his cultivation essence wasn't converted to immortal essence. If Sui worked with his friend, Yemo would have had it rough. He knew nothing about the immortal realm. He had no sect heritage, nor powerful master. All his achievements were through his own hard work. He still didn't know why his immortal ascension would expose his small world. After thinking for a moment, Yemo put 7 middle-grade immortal crystals into the time formation disc. He had to quickly convert his cultivation essence to immortal essence and stabilize his hollow immortal primary stage. Otherwise, if he went out again, he would be caught. Crack. When the last immortal crystals in Yemo's hands turned to dust, he found that in a short time he had used 1,000 or so immortal crystals. The 7 middle-grade immortal crystals on the time formation disc were beginning to get dim. Yemo estimated they would only last about 3 to 5 days. Yemo calculated he had cultivated about 6 years inside the time formation disc. This meant that 7 middle-grade immortal crystals could only last about 20 or so days. It seemed he needed to find top-grade immortal crystals for cultivation. After running his cultivation essence, Yemo sighed. He had converted 20% of it to immortal essence. He wouldn't be counted as a cultivator who just ascended. Then, Yemo started searching for jade slips inside their storage ring. They just introduced some ordinary places. He didn't have time to look at it before, but now he couldn't cultivate, so he took it out. From that, he knew he was at the outskirts of a place called Bai Yi Immortal City. It was a middle-caliber immortal city. It was one of countless immortal cities of Wenju Heaven. Other than the Bai Yi Immortal City, it talked about a place called Lao Shi Swamp the most. It was a place that low cultivators frequently went. Putting it away, Yemo came out of his golden page world. He wanted to check out Bai Yi Immortal City. He knew too little information. He needed to know where Yuheng Heaven was and some basic things of the immortal realm. It was a small hill area around him. Now, Yemo realized he didn't know where Bai Yi Immortal City was at all. It was a small hill area around him. Now, Yemo realized he didn't know where Bai Yi Immortal City was at all. Just when Yemo was hesitating which way to go, 3 figures appeared in his spirit sense. They all used extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. Thinking that he had converted some of his cultivation essence to immortal essence, Yemo guessed that these people wouldn't think he was just newly ascended. He released an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact and rapidly chased over. Yemo didn't want to take out Blue Moon again. The 3 saw Yemo with their spirit sense and stopped. Yemo saluted with his fists. Friends, I'm Yemo. I haven't ascended for long and just came out of Immortal Ascension Palace. I want to go out and find some cultivation resource, but I got lost. May I ask what palsy this is? There were 2 men and 1 woman. They were all hollow immortal. The strongest was the short-haired man. He was hollow immortal tertiary stage. The female cultivator was hollow immortal middle stage, and the other skinny man was hollow immortal middle stage. Yemo was only hollow immortal primary stage. You came from the Immortal Ascension Palace, the female cultivator asked in shock, clearly wondering how Yemo came here. Yemo didn't know how far Immortal Ascension Palace was from here, so he could only say, yes, I came from Immortal Ascension Palace. I've ascended for 19 years, but I've been wasting these years on searching for a way and finding cultivation realm. My power didn't grow at all. The skinny female cultivator said the nearest Immortal Ascension Palace in Wenju Heaven is at Immortal City. Even if you don't rest on your extreme-grade cultivation artifact, it would take more than 3 decades to fly here. Then she stared at Yemo, clearly thinking he was lying. Yemo didn't expect the nearest Immortal Ascension Palace from here was this far. He could only show Blue Moon, I have a half-immortal artifact. That's why I can get here so quick. Hearing this, the wariness in the female cultivator's eyes went away. She smiled. No wonder you got here so fast. This means you're not that fast. Yemo breathed easy and asked in confusion, "Are there more than one immortal ascension palace?" The female cultivator nodded, "Yes, there are 10 in Wenju Heaven. Usually cultivators wouldn't go out of there, they would learn about the immortal realm first. It's very dangerous to go out rashly like you. The newly ascended cultivators are protected in the immortal city of the Immortal Ascension Palace. They can join some powers, but it's not allowed to coerce newly ascended cultivators." Yemo sighed. "I saw people go out of the city to look for cultivation resource, so I wanted to go test my luck too. I got lost and flew all the way here." The female cultivator smiled. "There are very little cultivators who get lost, but there are some. Usually cultivators would spend a few decades or even 100 years in their immortal ascension city to completely convert cultivation essence to immortal essence before leaving. You're really bold." Yemo had a great impression of this female cultivator, seeing her attitude was so nice. He quickly asked, "May I ask how far is it from here to Bai Immortal City? I asked a friend before, but he was busy and just told me this place wasn't far from Bai Yi. We're going to Bai Yi Immortal City. You can come with us," the skinny cultivator said. The female cultivator said, "We just came back from Lao Shi Swamp. If you need to go out and find cultivation resource, Lao Shi Swamp is the best. It's not very dangerous, but you can find a lot. We wouldn't be coming back so quickly if it wasn't that Guyan Goddess is coming to Bai Yi City." Yemo pretended to say awkwardly, "Last time I went to find cultivation resource, I got lost until now. I've decided to cultivate at Bai Yi City for a while first. Otherwise, I might get lost again." The female cultivator smiled, "You won't. It's a very simple direct route from Bai Yi Immortal City to Lao Shi Swamp. But if you're going, it's best to go in a group. It's very dangerous for you to go alone." The female cultivator looked at the short-haired man and said, "Li Hung brother, Yemo just ascended. Let's have him join our squad. We endured the hardship like this before, I think we should help if we can." Li Hung smiled, "Of course." Li Hung saluted with his fists to Yemo. "I'm Li Hung. If you want to join, we can go out to find cultivation resource together. We need 5 people for our squad, and we're missing 2. You can join, but if you don't want to, you can still come with us to Bai Yi Immortal City." "Then thank you, brother Li Hung." Yemo was troubled. He didn't have cultivation resource and didn't know anything here as well. Now that someone invited him to join, of course he would join without hesitation. Seeing this, the female cultivator smiled. "I'm Gao Yuan. That's my brother Gao who—" She pointed at the skinny cultivator. Yemo didn't expect the two were siblings. They were quite capable to be able to find each after immortal ascension at only hollow immortal power. The 4 spoke, and everyone got to know each other quickly. Gao Yuan was warm-hearted and talkative. Gao Hu didn't talk much. Li Hung was very mature and humble. The 3 gave Yemo the impression they weren't bad people, and this was why Yemo was willing to join. Yemo finally couldn't resist his urge, and asked, "Brother Li Hung, do all the cultivators of Cultivation Realm must go through Immortal Ascension Palace to come to Immortal Realm?" Li Hung nodded. "I heard some Heaven Domain's Immortal Ascension laws are broken. Immortal Ascension cultivators might not come from Immortal Ascension Palace, but the cultivators of Wenju Heaven all must come through Immortal Ascension Palace. So that's it." Yemo answered, not getting the answer he wanted. Luckily Gao Yuan added, "I heard people say that if you have your own pocket world and have the divine damnation, inside you won't appear in the Immortal Ascension Palace. But pocket world is different to small world. Pocket world is much higher level than small world. Only a world with the complete 5 elements can have divine damnation, or divine damnation wouldn't be able to reach inside." Li Hung smiled. "Gao Yuan, you can really think. Even only a few of the powerful beings in the immortal realm would have pocket world. How could the cultivation realm have such thing?" Yemo realized. He had his divine damnation in a pocket world, and he didn't appear in the Immortal Ascension Palace. Thus Sui guessed he had a pocket world, but little did he know Yemo had the Golden Page world. It was on a completely different level to a pocket world. Yemo guessed that the 5 pillars were the 5 elements. "Yemo, you're really lucky. This time Guyan Goddess is coming to Bai Yi Immortal City. It said she would use when foam wine to treat all the cultivators earth immortal and above. You can make it. When foam wine is very hard to buy, its price is absurd too.
Gao Yuan said.
The group kept flaking, and soon they were outside the city. Yimo's Mou city was the grandest city on the entire Luoyu continent, but when he saw Bai Yi Immortal City, he realized what was truly grand. It soared so high into the clouds that one couldn't see the top. There were 4 golden words flashing in the clouds, Bai Yi Immortal City. Yet, this Bai Yi Immortal City was only an ordinary immortal city in Wenju Heaven. He heard Li Heng and them say Wenju Heaven was low-ranked heaven domain. The 2 city guards at the gates were actually golden immortal tertiary stage. But they seemed really amicable and looked at Li Heng and them's jade card and let them in. The 2 city guards at the gates were actually golden immortal tertiary stage. But they seemed really amicable and looked at Li Heng and them's jade card and let them in. Yimo just realized he didn't have a jade card, so he couldn't go in. Gao Yuan realized that Yimo didn't have one, so she quickly said, Yimo, it's your first time here. You need to apply for a jade card.
You can do it with the immortal guards.
It's 500 low-grade immortal crystals for 1 year and 2,000 for 10 years. If you have immortal crystals 10 years, is rather reasonable. Yimo dazed, and after a moment he said, but I only have 21 immortal crystals. They were the ones he deigned use in his golden page world. Hearing this, the 3 glanced at each other. They really didn't expect Yimo was this poor. Even the worst hollow immortal would have more than 21 immortal crystals after ascending for more than 10 years. Even the 2 immortal guards were speechless. 21 immortal crystals wasn't much, but 500 wasn't small. Even Li Heng and them were troubled. They saw Yimo for the first time and had quite a good convo, but it was hard for them to lend 500 low-grade immortal crystals to someone they met for the first time. Yimo instantly realized this and didn't like to trouble others. He saluted with his fists. I know the position of Bai Yi Immortal City, so I won't go in for now. I'll come meet up with you guys once I have enough immortal crystals. Gao Yuan just wanted to lend Yimo 500 low-grade immortal crystals when they saw a vibrant rainbow dashing light land at the city gates. Yimo could tell that this was at least a top-grade immortal artifact. That top-grade flying immortal artifact just landed, and 2 female cultivator walked out of it. They were both extremely pretty. The one walking ahead weaved her hair into a butterfly shape. She wore a yellow flowery dress showcasing her extremely slim figure with a royal look. The female cultivator next to her wore a pink dress and was extremely aesthetically pleasing, but her status was probably lower. The pink-dressed girl was already golden immortal power, and Yimo guessed that the flowery-dressed female cultivator was beyond golden immortal. The 2 city guards immediately saw the 2, and I came up to bow greet Go Yen Goddess. Go Yen Goddess nodded, and then another 2 flying magic artifact landed. Yimo couldn't see their power level at all. Yimo knew this wasn't because he wasn't able to, but he didn't completely understand the cultivation system of the immortal realm. But he guessed they were probably her bodyguards. Li Heng and them were clearly worried. Gao Yuan pulled Yimo and said, I'll lend you 500 low-grade immortal crystals, get a jade card, and let's quickly go. Yuan, wait. The 2 immortal guards haven't come over yet. Gao, who was scared his sister would offend the city guards. What's going on? The pink-dressed female cultivator looked at the 4 in confusion. Usually people would move aside to let Go Yen Goddess go in. The 2 immortal guards were a little worried. Then, they saw a few cultivators come out from the city. They were clearly here to greet Go Yen Goddess. If they messed things up, they would lose their jobs. One immortal guard said desperately, one of the 4 can't go in because he doesn't have jade card. He only has 21 low-grade immortal crystals, so he can't afford a jade card. He was about to leave, but Go Yen Goddess arrived. We'll lead them away immediately. Go Yen nodded and looked at Yimo. Clearly, he was a newly ascended cultivator. His cultivation essence wasn't even completely converted yet. She smiled and took out 5 top-grade immortal crystals and gave it to the guards. I'll pay for his jade card for him. Before Yi Mo could thank her, Guyan took her 2 guards and red-dressed female cultivator into the city. The 2 guards stood there dazedly uncertain as to why Guyan Goddess would help a newly ascended cultivator pay. By the immortal city Xiang Xingxian greet Guyan Goddess. Heat Songyin greet. As Guyan Goddess went into the immortal city, the immortals who came to greet her had come to the city door. Tens of by the immortal city powerful figures hustled around Guyan Goddess as she went into the city. Yi Mo didn't even get an opportunity to thank her. You're really lucky you could get Guyan Goddess to help you. The immortal guard took out a jade card and asked, "What's your name?" Yi Mo. Yi Mo knew he was really lucky indeed. The immortal guard soon gave the inscribed jade card to Yi Mo. Go inside. Remember to thank her. Yi Mo took the jade card speechlessly. To be honest, he really didn't want to owe her a favor. He would rather ask Gao Yuan to borrow 500. But this was nothing to Guyan Goddess. Yi Mo felt this favor was hard to return. It would be a miracle he would be able to see Guyan Goddess for 500 low-grade immortal crystals. The group went inside the city, and Yi Mo cast those thoughts aside. The immortal spirit chi here was more than 10 times better than outside the city. He felt that with the immortal spirit chi here, 500 immortal crystals a year really wasn't much. Yi Mo, you're really lucky. Even Guyan Goddess helped you pay. If there was a lot of people at the city gates, you would be famous. Gao Yuan joked. Yi Mo could only laugh. Bai, the immortal city was enormous. Even the largest cultivation city in the South P State, South P City, was a far cry from here. As they walked more towards the border, the immortal spirit chi lessened. Yi Mo just realized now that there were only certain places with good immortal spirit chi. Half an hour later, they came to a place with even less immortal spirit chi. Li Heng pointed at the row of short cultivation homes and said, "You can rent the cultivation home here. D23 to 27 is where we rent. It's Mi Qin who lived at 23, but he died 2 months ago in the Laoshi swamp. You can stay in his place for now." Li Heng took out a jade card and gave it to Yi Mo. "This is the jade card to open the cultivation home. We're going to rest first, you should too." There's still a few days before she would invite the cultivators of the entire city. "We'll come tell you." "Thank you, brotherly." Yi Mo thanked. He knew that he didn't have to pay immortal crystals for the palsy he stayed, but he should still give some immortal crystals to them later. Plus, Li Heng didn't say he could live for free as well. Yi Mo realized that although the city looked very grand on the outside, there were still slums here too. The room Yi Mo had only had slightly better immortal spirit chi than outside. The cultivation home was very simple too. There was only a main cultivation room and a side room. This room was probably for pill concoction and feeding spirit beasts. Yi Mo didn't cultivate here. Cultivating here was a torture. He was just a hollow immortal, but the immortal spirit chi he needed was on a different level. Yi Mo didn't know the later cultivation states too, so he left the cultivation home and went out around. Although his 3-birth chant would automatically create the next level of cultivation method for him after he reaches hollow immortal peak stage, he still wanted to know. He needed to know that at what power level would cultivators have some specific traits or immortal essence signatures. Otherwise, the next time he encounters an opponent, he wouldn't even know their cultivation state. Little did Yi Mo knew that a normal immortal ascension cultivator would automatically know the cultivation states of the immortal realm after ascending to the immortal realm, but Yi Mo didn't have that imprinted in his brain. Yi Mo saw a simple market not far from his cultivation home. The things here were very low level. Most of the cultivators trading here were hollow immortals. Yi Mo saw a simple market not far from his cultivation home. The things here were very low level. Most of the cultivators trading here were hollow immortals. Yi Mo not only wanted to buy a few jade slips but also understand by Yi Immortal City as well as the situation of the 33 heavens. He went directly to the heart of the city. The immortal spirit chi was very dense in the city center, making Yi Mo want to find a quiet palsy and cultivate, but he knew that was impossible. If the immortal city permitted this, there would be cultivators sitting all over the ground. The main streets were very busy, and even the market stalls were very luxurious, much less those grandiose merchant towers. Guillermo walked around. There were too many shops here. He didn't know how many cultivators were here and how they were so wealthy. Most shops had many cultivators walking inside. Guillermo knew that on Luoyu he was a wealthy man, but in the immortal realm he was broke. He had only mere 21 low-grade immortal crystals. He wouldn't feel self-conscious about this, but he knew that going there with this little immortal crystals was asking for trouble. So, Guillermo chose to go to a smaller merchant shop. Going inside, Guillermo felt an even denser immortal spirit chi than outside. Guillermo couldn't help taking a deep breath while sighing. Cultivation was all about cultivation resource. Without it, no matter how hard you worked, you wouldn't be able to reach higher cultivation states. There were neatly organized rows of light orb restrictions. Each restriction had pills, herbs, and magic artifacts. This shop wasn't big and only had one level. When Guillermo came in, there were already a few people looking inside the light orbs carefully. Guillermo didn't look at those light orb restrictions. He knew that with his low-grade immortal crystals, he wouldn't be able to buy anything. He walked to a golden immortal cultivator at the front desk. He got up politely and asked, "What do you need, friend? Is there cultivation method and details about 33 heavens?" Guillermo quickly asked. Hearing that Guillermo was here to buy cultivation method, the golden immortal's smile immediately lit up. He quickly said, "You came to the right place. I have from heaven grade to immortal grade cultivation method. The highest is immortal grade level 4. As for 33 heaven information, I can give it to you for free if you buy cultivation method." Then how much is the price for immortal grade level 1 cultivation method? Guillermo thought he had a lot of materials and extreme grade cultivation artifact. He might be able to trade for some immortal crystals. Hearing this, the golden immortal's eyes smiled till it could be barely seen. "There are many types. Look at which type you want." The price is about 10,000 top-grade immortal crystals and 30,000 top-grade immortal crystals. This expensive? Guillermo took a cold breath in. If an immortal grade level 1 cultivation method was this expensive, how Li Heng and them cultivate? Hearing this, the golden immortal's fervor reduced by quite a bit, but he still smiled. "The cultivation method I have here are all high-level cultivation method. It's completely different to the cultivation method that low-level solo cultivators spread amongst each other." Guillermo knew this golden immortal was bluffing, but he didn't care. At least now he realized where Li Heng and them's cultivation method came from. They were copied around by low-level cultivators. This way it would cost very little immortal crystals. When they were strong enough, they could switch cultivation method. In that case, I don't want cultivation method, yet give me the details about the 33 heaven domains, Guillermo said. There was disappointment in his eyes. This was a huge difference. But he still took out a jade slip and said, 100 low-grade immortal crystals, non-negotiable. Guillermo still hasn't gotten out of the mentality that in the cultivation realm immortal crystals were very expensive. He thought one jade slip would at most cost around 10 immortal crystals. After all, it could be copied everywhere. I only have 21 immortal crystals. Guillermo didn't even get to say he could trade in things for immortal crystals, and the golden immortal took the jade slip back. He was good-tempered, but even he couldn't deal with a cultivator who couldn't even take out 100 low-grade immortal crystals. Plus, this cultivator was much weaker than him. "I have extreme-grade cultivation artifact here. Do you guys take it?" Guillermo felt awkward. No. Clearly the golden immortal didn't want to talk to Guillermo anymore. "Haha. Friend, I'll take your extreme-grade cultivation artifact." Another fatter cultivator walked over and said genuinely. Guillermo scanned this person, and could tell he was golden immortal too. He could tell that the shoes he was wearing was at least low-grade immortal artifact. His clothes and bracelet were all defense immortal artifact. With Guillermo's experience, he could tell that this cultivator wanted to help him. Usually, he wouldn't be this desperate, but now he desperately needed to know where Yu Heng Heaven and Gonghua Heaven were. Thinking about this, Guillermo thanked and took out an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact he made and showed it to the fat cultivator. "What do you think?" It's a flying magic artifact. Good thing. The fat cultivator indeed wanted to help Emo, but he was a little shook when Emo took out this. How could Emo have extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact if he couldn't afford 100 low-grade immortal crystals? Extreme-grade cultivation artifact wasn't worth money in the immortal realm indeed, but there was still a market for extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. I'll give you 500 immortal crystals. The fat cultivator took out 500 low-grade immortal crystals and gave it to Emo. Emo didn't know the prices in the immortal realm, but he knew it wouldn't be very high. Emo took it, and then took out 2 corner soul weed and gave it to the cultivator. I got this occasionally. Thanks for helping, friend, you can keep it. Corner soul weed. The golden immortal, who didn't want to talk to Emo, sprung up in shock. The fat cultivator didn't really mind, but upon hearing corner soul weed there was surprise and joy in his eyes. Emo dazed. The corner soul weed came from the cultivation realm. There were plenty in the sea corner. How could a golden immortal know? He only took out clear weed. Friend, do you have more corner soul weed? I'm willing to pay 500 number 1000 top grade immortal crystals to buy your corner soul weed, the golden immortal said desperately. Emo was shook. He didn't expect the corner soul weed was this precious. Emo didn't feel good. He was worried. How could he not know the cruelty of cultivation by now? Although this was a prosperous city and everyone smiled at you, but if there was conflict of interest, these people wouldn't hesitate to release their magic artifact at you and kill you. The fat cultivator was overjoyed, but hearing the bid of the golden immortal, his heart sunk. 1,000 top-grade immortal crystals was 100,000 low-grade immortal crystals. This definitely wasn't the bottom price of corner soul weed. He helped Emo with 500 low-grade immortal crystals, but Emo gave him an extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. If he was going to pay Emo immortal crystals, it would be too much. He was wealthy, but he couldn't spend it like that. The fat golden immortal gave the 2 corner soul weed back to Emo. Friend, this is too precious. Yan Hongzhong, can't take this. Emo pushed it back to him. I only have these 2. I bought it from a market. To me, although it has some use for spirit sense, but it's too little. Since I gave it out, I don't intend to get it back. Then, Emo saluted with his fists to the merchant tower golden immortal. Sorry, I only have these 2, and I've given it away. Emo didn't expect the corner soul weed was this precious in the immortal realm too. It wasn't wise to take it out. He didn't intend to buy jade slips anymore and turned to leave. Yan Hongzhong stopped Emo. Friend, since I got something so precious from you, I have 2 jade slips here. Have a look. Emo grabbed the jade slip and turned to leave without even saying thank you. When the golden immortal chased out, Emo's figure was already gone. Unlike outside, Own couldn't scan his spirit sense very far in the city. Emo grabbed the jade slip and turned to leave without even saying thank you. When the golden immortal chased out, Emo's figure was already gone. Unlike outside, Own couldn't scan his spirit sense very far in the city. The golden immortal immediately looked back and saluted with his fists to Yan Hongzhong. Friend, would you be able to sell these 2 corner soul weed to our merchant tower? The price is negotiable. Name a price. If you're willing to sell, we won't let you lose out. The golden immortal regretted extremely. If he spoke to the cultivator more, perhaps he would have got the 2 corner soul weed already. After this, he had decided to talk to a customer more no matter what power level he was at. Emo left very rapidly as the corner soul weed was too precious. He knew that was more suspicious, but even so, he didn't want to be followed. He quickly got back to his cultivation home and knew he wasn't being followed. He immediately set up a barrier formation and a few more restrictions. Emo breathed easy and then took out the 2 jade slips Yan Hongzhong gave him. When Emo's spirit sense scanned inside the first one, he immediately knew Yan Hongzhong was a good person. It was an immortal grade level 3 cultivation method. It described the levels and characteristics of cultivation very precisely. There were even some cultivation experience and notes. From this, Yemo knew that Yan Hongzhong had a similar personality to him. They didn't like to take things for free. The cultivators of the immortal realm were divided into 3 big grades: Heaven Immortal, Great Immortal, and Status Immortal. Hollow Immortal, Golden Immortal, and Abstruse Immortal were Heaven Immortal grade. Beyond Abstruse Immortal was Great Immortal grade. Great Immortals were Great Unity Immortal, Great Extreme Immortal, and Great Eternity Immortal. When you reach the extreme of Great Eternity Immortal, it would be Status Immortals. The lowest is Immortal King, then Immortal Monarch. The pinnacle of Immortal Realm cultivation is Immortal Emperor. From Hollow Immortal to Immortal Emperor, there was Primary Stage, Middle Stage, and Tertiary Stage. Each step was stacked up through countless cultivation resource and time. There was no fast way there. The Status Immortals in the Immortal Realm were the pinnacle of Immortals. Even an Immortal King was very honorable. Yi Mo simply scanned the Jade Slip and knew the direction of Immortal Realm cultivation method. He lost interest in the Jade Slip. Yi Mo's spirit sense scanned the second one. This was indeed what he wanted to buy, the information about the 33 heavens. It wasn't very detailed, but it had everything Yi Mo wanted. The 33 heaven domains were divided into 11 low heaven domain, 11 middle heaven domain, and 11 grand heaven domains. Yi Mo panted. His guess was right. The 33 heavens weren't equal. After countless years, there was strict division between low, middle, and grand heaven domains. You may be a heaven lord at a low heaven domain, but when you get to middle heaven domain, your status is greatly diminished. Usually, there's no teleportation formation from low heaven domain to middle heaven domain. It wasn't easy for cultivators to go from low heaven domain to middle heaven domain. Only if you're extremely wealthy or extremely powerful would you be able to enter higher heaven domain. If you're wealthy and have a lot of immortal crystals, you can take the long-distance flying ships that travels between heaven domains. If you're very powerful, you can fly across heaven domains yourself. Of course, there are some lucky cultivators who get taken in by the sects of high heaven domains when they come down. This way you would also be taken away. As for the levels of the sects, it's completely different to the 9-star system in the cultivation realm. It's based on the power of a sect. If a cultivator in the sect reaches Great Extreme Immortal, then the sect would be Great Extreme Immortal Sect. If a cultivator reached Immortal Emperor in the sect, then the sect would be Emperor Sect. A sect without a great immortal wouldn't be accepted. Even the weakest sect must have one great immortal to be established. Yi Mo also looked at the 33 heaven division. The low heaven domains were Huangzheng Yuan, Hitong, Pingyu, Wenju, Mo Yu Hung, Mengfei, Hiang, Gonghua, and Jifeng heaven. The 11 middle heaven domains were Huangjia, Tengyao, Duanjing, Jiyao, Kongsheng, Huangya, Xiaomeng, Zongpiao, Wenchong, Zhongyu, Yuanla heaven. The 11 grand heaven domains were Xianshi, Xiaodu, Yuandong, Miaocheng, Jinshang, Chongrong, Tengsheng, Fandu, Great Red, Yuyu, and Qingwei heaven. Yi Mo didn't expect both Yuheng and Gonghua were low-grade heaven domains. He wondered what power that Lu Jingquan was, Great Immortal or Status Immortal. From Yan Hongzhong's Jade Slip, Yi Mo could tell that in the 11 low-grade heaven domains, Status Immortal were extremely rare. Each was a heaven lord. The Jade Slips didn't talk about the middle grade and grand heaven domains. However, Yi Mo could guess that Wenju wasn't very far from Yuheng. Meanwhile, Gonghua was the furthest and very far from Yuheng. From the Jade Slip, Yi Mo knew that it was extremely hard to reach Status Immortal in the low heaven domains. One must be in middle heaven domain, but the Jade Slip didn't explain why. Yi Mo sighed and put the Jade Slip away. He knew that if he wanted to stand at the peak of the immortal realm like on Luo Yu continent, it would be countless times harder. If Yi Mo didn't have Golden Page World, 3-birth chant, time formation disc, bitter bamboo, and so forth, he wouldn't even dare to imagine standing at the top. He wouldn't even dare to fight with Lu Jingquan.
But now he had to want to.
He ascended to immortal realm alone, Lu Jingchuan wouldn't be able to find him, but if a lot of people ascended from Luoyu continent, then he would be exposed. There were countless people at Mou City. What if they were attacked by Lu Jingchuan? After thinking for a long while, Yemo had decided to go out with Li Hong and them. He would never come back. The BIYIE was safe, but this wasn't what he wanted. He didn't need safety, he needed large amounts of cultivation realm and rapid improvement. After deciding his path, Yemo took out his extreme flame star gold and started to upgrade his Zisu. But no matter what, he didn't dare to go into the golden page world here. Who knew how many powerful beings were in the immortal realm? Perhaps their spirit sense was looking through the formation, and you didn't even know. The exposure of the corner soul weed didn't seem like a big deal, but Yemo had a subtle sense of unease. He really wanted to go now, but he knew that he had to keep calm. If he left alone, he wouldn't be able to explain things. Yemo started to use Mist Lotus Heartfire to forge the extreme flage star gold. After melting it, Yemo added it to Zisu. What shook him was that before he did anything, Zisu started to devour it on its own. Afterwards, Zisu emitted a purple-red light. Yemo could only see Zisu rolling around in it while its appearance started to distort. Yemo rejoiced. Zisu was really a mag that could upgrade itself. 3 whole days, and Zisu finally calmed down. The rays disappeared too. When it was completely gone, an ordinary single-edged long sword appeared before Yemo. There were very fine cloud eddy marks. Good sword. Yemo couldn't help saying. He could feel that this sword was now a low-grade immortal artifact. Yemo grabbed Zisu, and the more he looked at it, the happier he was. There was a darkish red in the purple, and Yemo could feel its powerful killing force. He sliced out, and the defense formation and restrictions he set up disappeared. This was terrifying. Yemo was exclaiming when a red communication room landed outside his restriction. Yemo took it and realized that the forgery competition was about to begin. Li Hong wanted Yemo to go over. Without hesitation, Yemo packed his things and left. He wasn't going to come back anymore. After the feast, even if Li Hong and them didn't leave, he would leave with other cultivators and never come back. Yemo left with Li Hong and them and came to the Bai Immortal City Square. Now he realized what was truly shocking. He had seen big tournaments in Pill City and seen countless cultivators gather on one square. There were a few 100,000 cultivators gathered before. But now at the endless Bai Immortal City Square, there were at least a few million. Yemo left with Li Hong and them and came to the Bai Immortal City Square. Now he realized what was truly shocking. He had seen big tournaments in Pill City and seen countless cultivators gather on one square. There were a few 100,000 cultivators gathered before. But now at the endless Bai Immortal City Square, there were at least a few million. The forgery competition hasn't even started, and there are so many people here. Wouldn't there be even more later on? Yemo exclaimed. Li Hong smiled. You're wrong. When the tournament begins, more than half of the people would go. Li Hong explained, there are very little golden immortals here. It's all below golden immortal. They want the same thing as us. Drink the Wenfeng wine Guyan goddess is treating us. After that they would leave. We're the same as well. We just here to see what's going on. There's no need to actually waste our time here. After drinking, we will be going to the Lao Shi swamp too. Hearing this, Yemo liked it. His spirit sense scanned the cultivators on the square. More than 90% were below golden immortal. Some were even disaster transformation state and truth realization state cultivators. But those were rare. Most of the people here were hollow immortal. There were so many cultivators here, and even if everyone only drinks 1 cup, how much wine would be consumed? Just how wealthy was this Go Yen goddess? Suddenly, a rainbow cloud landed in the middle of the stage. After the rainbow cloud disappeared, Go Yen and her maid appeared. Then, tens of cultivators beyond golden immortal power appeared on the stage. Go Yan's arrival received a round of applause. Go Yan pressed down with her hand, and after the applause ended, she said with a crisp voice, Bai Immortal City has always been the famous city forgery in Wenju Heaven. This forgery tournament is the place where all the high-level forgery masters of Wenju Heaven will be showing their skills. I hope this tournament there will be more excellent forgery grand masters showing up bringing back our glory. There was another round of applause. Guyan nodded and continued, in order to thank all the friends who support our Wenju Heaven Domain Forgery Tournament. The Heaven Lord has authorized me to come and support this event while bringing the most famous wine of our heaven, Wenfeng wine. The applause grew even louder. Clearly most cultivators cared about this. Guoyen smiled and bowed. Because there are so many people here, we can only supply the lowest level Wenfeng wine. There was no disappointment. Instead, the cultivators said, "It's fine, we know. Thank you, Guoyen Goddess. Thank you, Heaven Lord Gu." Guoyen smiled now. "Everyone please enjoy Wenfeng wine." Then the two cultivators behind her walked over, each carrying a huge bucket. It was large, but everyone knew it was a pocket dimension magic artifact. Yimo saw the power of these two. They were both great unity immortal. Go Yan was only abstruse immortal level. In the fiery eyes of countless people, the two buckets were unsealed. An intense wine aroma spread out across the entire square. Some people even closed their eyes and started inhaling intensely. Some cultivators even murmured, "So aromatic. Good wine." Yimo smelled this wine and thought. He had this wine, and although it didn't smell this good, Yimo was certain it was made from 10,000-year stalagmite marrow. This wine manufacturing method winters a rival much better than his, and they added special immortal herbs too. At this moment, the two great extreme immortal guards waved the wine bucket, and countless wine mist sprayed down like rain. In the blink of an eye, everyone had a fist-sized drop of wine in front of them. Yimo had one too. He scanned his spirit sense inside and sniffed. This was indeed made with 10,000-year stalagmite wine. There was much less stalagmite marrow used than the wines he made. Yimo lost interest in this wine, but he was shook by the two guards' spirit sense. They were just two great unity immortal, but they could control more than 1,000,000 drops of wine floating in the air without any trouble. Just how powerful were status immortals? There was also a drop floating before Go Yen Goddess. Everyone knew she did this to show equality to everyone or respect. She didn't waste time and smiled. "There's no wine cups. Apologies." Everyone cheers. Then she drank the drop in front of her. Everyone else copied and drank the wine. Everyone was savoring the taste of the alcohol. Good wine indeed. No wonder it said that this wine can remedy pill poison. It's indeed extraordinary. Li Heng drank it and sighed. Yimo suddenly said, "Brother Eli, I still have a drop here. You can have it." Li Heng opened up his eyes and dazed. Even the lowest grade Wenfeng wine is not something we can afford, yet you don't even want to drink it? Yimo laughed. "I don't really like this taste." Li Heng looked strangely at Yimo and murmured, "Strange person." Then he took the wine to his mouth and drank it. What happened between the two immediately caught the notice of a great unity immortal. He controlled all of the drops with his spirit sense. Yimo didn't drink it, but gave it to someone else. Then he saw Yimo was the hollow immortal that the young mistress helped at the city gates. Just when he wanted to tell this to Guyen said loudly, "I hereby announce the commencement of the Wenju Heaven Forgery Tournament. The main judges will be BIYI Immortal City Lord and me." The contestants, judges, and guests all came to the stage. At this moment, many low-level cultivators started to leave and left the space to the cultivators Golden Immortal and above. Li Heng and them weren't interested in watching the tournament either, and all left. Yimo wanted to leave as soon as possible. He quickly followed Li Heng and them and left the city. The guard watching Yimo just suddenly realized that they had disappeared. "City Lord Zong, you're saying there was corner soul weed in by City Lord?" Guyan asked in shock. "Yes, I just got news. It would be sold at Rainbow Immortal Merchant Association. 2 would be sold." A middle-aged man said. He was the City Lord Zong. Guyan's face went serious and said to one of her great unity immortal bodyguards, "Muji, go investigate how it appeared and notify the Heaven Lord." Zong, he said, "Guyan Goddess, no need." A hollow immortal who just ascended took it out. He went to a small merchant tower to buy cultivation method and information about the 33 heavens, but he only had 21 low-grade immortal crystals. But a golden immortal called Yan Hongzhong bought his extreme-grade flying cultivation artifact. That hollow immortal felt he took advantage of Yan Hongzhong, so he gave 2 corner soul weed to him. It's him. Guyan thought of the young cultivator who couldn't afford 500 low-grade immortal crystals. It's him. Clearly the other bodyguard knew about it too. You guys know this person? Zong, he asked in confusion. The bodyguard said seriously, young mistress, this person is probably the cultivator you helped pay the 500 immortal crystals for. He just came here, but he didn't drink when foam wine, he gave it to someone else.
Oh.
Go Yen frowned. Theoretically, when foam wine would be top-grade wine for a hollow immortal. Yet he gave it to someone else? Find that person immediately, Go Yen said. That Yan Hongzhong knew he wouldn't be able to keep 2 corner soul weed, so he sold it to the merchant tower, and the merchant tower sold it to Rainbow Immortal Merchant Association. Zong, he continued. That Yan Hongzhong knew he wouldn't be able to keep 2 corner soul weed, so he sold it to the merchant tower, and the merchant tower sold it to Rainbow Immortal Merchant Association. Zong, he continued. Go Yen frowned and said to the other bodyguard, prepare immortal crystals. We must get the 2 corner soul weed tomorrow at the auction. Yi Mo breathed easy. He was at the Lao 11 swamp now. The way there wasn't complicated indeed, but it wasn't close neither. Yi Mo offered to use his blue moon, and the 4 used just a day to get there. Yi Mo thought this place would be like a swamp, but when he got here, he realized he was greatly wrong. Usually, swamps would have plantation and some floating woods or water ditches. But this swamp was just full of rotting mud. There was no water nor herb. The mud was dull gray, and there were some bubbles. There was cultivation resource at this sort of place? Yi Mo looked dazedly at this place and couldn't comprehend. Were they going dive inside and look for cultivation resource? Seeing this, Gao Yuan laughed. Yi Mo, you wouldn't think we're going inside to find cultivation resource, right? Yi Mo laughed awkwardly. He really thought so. Seeing this, Gao Yuan laughed. You thought right, although not everyone would do this, some still would. However, you need to choose the right place. If you dare to go down here, you will never come back up. Li Heng explained, there are a huge amount of immortal items in here. They're all valuable. If you can find a mud lotus, then you would have cultivation resource for a few hundred years. But in all these years, there had only been 3 mud lotus. Of course, most places are very dangerous. If you go down, you would be devoured forever. Other than inside, there are also large amounts of floating jiao on the surface. These are valuable too. Each one is worth 200-300 low-grade immortal crystals. Yi Mo dazed, he realized he made a big mistake. At the Bai Immortal City, he didn't buy that immortal herb jade slip. Thing had a lot of immortal herbs inside too, but it was mainly targeted at the cultivation realm. I haven't heard of this as well. Yi Mo smiled awkwardly. Gao Yuan took out a jade slip and gave it to Yi Mo. This is a menu of frequently seen immortal herbs and materials. Have a look. Yi Mo took the jade slip gratefully and didn't mention immortal crystals. He could tell that Gao Yuan was much more generous than Li Heng. Li Heng said to Yi Mo, this is Lao 11 swamp outskirts. There's nothing much, we just need to fly in half a day more. Yi Mo just wanted to reply, and his face changed. His spirit sense was much more powerful than hollow immortal tertiary stage Li Heng. He saw 2 cultivators flying over here. One of them was golden immortal power already. Li Heng said that more than 90% of cultivators here were hollow immortal. Only occasionally would there be golden immortal. Yi Mo's face changed not because the person was golden immortal, but because he had seen this golden immortal. When the attendant at the merchant tower called out corner soul weed, everyone heard it, and everyone was watching him. This golden immortal was one of them. Yi Mo didn't believe in such coincidence that as soon as he came here, that golden immortal came. Thinking about this, Yi Mo set up tens of stealth formation flags. Yi Mo, you're an immortal formation master? Li Heng asked in shock. Yimo laughed. I'm just a low-level immortal formation master. I can set up some simple immortal formations. The formation flags I set down are to hide our tracks. I'm scared someone will chase us. Gao Yuan raised her thumb to Yimo. Yimo, you just ascended, but you do things very carefully. No wonder you can ascend to the immortal realm at such a young age. You're probably some famous person in the cultivation realm, right? Yimo laughed but didn't answer. Gao Yuan didn't expect Yimo to say anything, but she looked at Li Heng. Yimo's spirit sense was watching them both. They were all fighting at the bottom of a mortal realm society, and they weren't that close. Yimo had a good impression of them, but it didn't mean he wasn't wary. Li Heng nodded at Gao Yuan but didn't talk. They sped up. Yimo saw this and didn't show any expression. Even if 3 hollow immortals attacked him, he wouldn't mind. Plus, they had no reason to attack him. Seeing that golden immortal roam around for a while before changing direction, Yimo breathed easy. The Lao 11 swamp was huge. Even golden immortal spirit sense wouldn't be able to see the end. Li Heng sped up obviously, and half a day later, Li Heng stopped. Seeing Li Heng look at him, Yimo immediately knew something was about to happen. Li Heng saluted with his fists to Yimo. Yimo, I can tell you're no evil person, and you've been with us for a few days. I believe you can tell we're not evil too. Yimo smiled. Of course I trust Brother Li and Sister Yuan, that's why I came with you guys to get rich here. Gao Yuan laughed. Yimo, you're really straightforward, get rich, haha. That's right, we're here to get rich. Li Heng nodded. He thought that Yimo meant he was only hollow immortal primary stage. If he didn't trust them, he wouldn't come with them. But he still asked out of caution. Now that Yimo gave a certain answer, Li Heng was more assured and said, Yimo, I see your formation is good, so I have a big business deal. Would you dare to do it? Yimo smiled. There's no business I don't dare to do. Great, I like this answer. Li Heng nodded in approval. Before Yimo could reply, he said, Yimo, I won't hide it from you. A decade ago, we found a ruin here. Ruin? Yimo was completely broke. As soon as he heard the word ruin, his eyes lit up. Li Heng was happy with Yimo's expression and continued, that ruin is very obscure. I'm certain that without guidance you wouldn't be able to find it for 10,000 years. Then why did you guys wait till today? Yimo asked in confusion. Gao Yuan quickly said, there's a formation there. None of us know formation. If we tried to break it open by force, it would startle everyone in the swamp. By then our team wouldn't be able to get anything. Thus, we haven't touched it till now. Yimo realized and said, no problem, Brother Li, lead the way, let's go see. Li Heng nodded immediately and flew faster. Half a day later, Yimo finally found signs of cultivators. Many of them were searching for something in this endless swamp. At this moment, a cultivator suddenly put away his flying magic artifact and dug his head into the gray mud. People really did this? Someone probably found something good, Gao Hu said. Li Heng nodded. Gao Hu is right. There are many good things inside, but rarely do people go in. It's just too dangerous inside. There's definitely something really good for that person to go in. Li Heng nodded. Gao Hu is right. There are many good things inside, but rarely do people go in. It's just too dangerous inside. There's definitely something really good for that person to go in. Then he added, no matter what, it has nothing to do with us. Let's leave earlier. There would be more and more cultivators coming here. Li Heng was right. In a short time 8 cultivators came. They stopped. Clearly they came to see the cultivator, who just went into the swamp. The 3 turned to leave and no one cared, but Yimo felt he was being tracked. However, he used his spirit sense to scan behind many times and didn't find anything. Half a day later, that feeling was still there. Just when he wanted to say his feeling, Li Heng said, we're here. Then he pointed at a plain region of swamp. Look at the mud here. It looks the same as other places, but there are actually subtle differences. Yimo's attention was caught by Li Heng's words, and he checked with spirit sense. Soon, he noticed that the bubbles here had a special feature. They were all the same size. Yemo looked at Li Heng in shock. He even forgot that there was someone behind him. This region was only a 3-meter radius, and one had to look very closely to see it. How did Li Heng know? Yemo, are you wondering how I knew this? Li Heng saw Yemo's face and smiled. Yemo asked, "Yeah, did you find this place by searching for spirit herbs?" Li Heng said, "I found this place on an occasion, but not far finding spirit items. Once you've been in this place for long enough, you'll know it's a dead swamp. No cultivators would go in, as rarely any of them would survive. The place we saw a cultivator jump in before was live swamp. You won't necessarily die if you jump in. When we were being hunted, we knew we would die for sure, so we had no choice but to come here. However, we were very lucky. This place isn't a swamp, it's a stealth formation. If you go in, you will go into a formation dimension. That's how we survived." Yemo was awkward. He said he was an immortal formation master, but when they took him here, he looked at it for a long while and didn't recognize it was a stealth formation. "Yes, as long as you go in from here, you will find yourself to be in caved-in area. There's an ancient cultivation home there. There's some restriction, and we have come here a few times, but we weren't able to open it. Not long ago, Mi-Chin was too desperate to go in and was killed by the formation," Gao Yuan said sadly. Haha, laughter sounded, and a flying magic artifact appeared. There were 3 cultivators on their all-hollow immortal peak. "I was wondering why you 3 gave up seeing the good show. So you're here to find the ancient ruin," a red-robed cultivator said. His face was dark, but his hands were very long. Yemo sighed. No wonder he felt he was being followed but couldn't see anything. It was this flying ship magic artifact. It was definitely a good thing. Even his spirit sense couldn't find it. "It's you, Yanzhua." Li Heng's face changed. The red-robed cultivator sneered. "That's right, it's me. I saw you before and was planning to teach you a lesson, but you ran off." Then, the red-robed cultivator said to the hollow immortal next to him, "When Xiong, you guessed right, haha. Ancient cultivation home. We're rich." Gao Yuan put away her smile and stared coldly at the red-robed cultivator and said, "Yanzhua, there's indeed a ruin here. We can give it to you. From now on, we don't intervene with each other." Yemo looked at Gao Yuan in shock. They were 3 hollow immortal peak stage, but the Gao Yuan siblings were hollow immortal middle stage, Li Heng was hollow immortal tertiary stage, and there was him too. Why would they be afraid? But soon Yemo realized none of them considered him a cultivator who only had 20% of cultivation essence converted to immortal essence. Yemo received Gao Yuan's sound transmission. "Yemo, that Yanzhua is very powerful. He can even kill ordinary golden immortal cultivators. We must run away. Remember, you must not be caught by his red mist. Hee, don't intervene with each other." Red-robed cultivator sneered. "Ran away? Do you think you have that chance in front of me?" Clearly, he caught Gao Yuan's sound transmission. Yemo said straight up, "I'll deal with this, Yanzhua. You 3 hold the other 2 there. After I kill Yanzhua, I'll come help." Then before the 3 could reply, Yemo released Zisu and charged at Yanzhua. He wanted to annihilate them all, just like what Yanzhua thought. Seeing Yemo charge towards Yanzhua in suicide, Li Heng and them's face changed. They immediately realized that Yemo dominated the cultivation realm too much, that he didn't change his mindset here. He thought the immortal realm cultivators were as easy to deal with as the cultivation realm cultivators. "What do we do?" Gao Yuan's face changed and asked Li Heng desperately. Before he could respond, Yanzhua's 2 partners charged at them. Li Heng could only rush to say, "You and Gao Hu take on that short, fat one. I'll take on the other." Everyone released their magic artifact, and immortal essence roamed around this place. Yanzhua saw that a mere hollow immortal who didn't even convert all of his cultivation essence dared to fight him. He was furious. A crescent spade appeared in his hand. Screech. Zisu hacked down with a painful sound. It was just a simple purple ray. Yanzhua suddenly frowned. He felt something was wrong. This strike made his mind shake. This had never happened before. An ordinary strike without the support of any magic, how could it shake his mind? He didn't think more and released his crescent spade. Countless shadows emitted from it and completely enveloped Yi Mo and his Zisu sword ray. Just looking at the shadows, he knew that Yanjua had fused his offense and defense. Perhaps Yanjua thought he wouldn't be able to escape under such attack. Seeing how he easily covered Yi Mo with his spade shadows, Yanjua breathed easy. He knew Yi Mo was over. By the time the shadows disappeared, they would have been killed by either the spade shadow or the red mist. Yanjua knew that Heartshake was him being too careful. When a red smoke started to emit from the spade shadow, Yi Mo realized this was Yanjua's lethal blow. Break! Yi Mo yelled and purple sword rays charged out of the spade shadow as they instantly melted. However, the red mist didn't go away and surrounded at Yi Mo didn't mind and hacked out with Zisu again, illusion cloud Hua mountain strike. The red mist completely surrounded Yi Mo layer by layer and even made a sizzling sound. Gao Yuan happened to see this and screamed, but losing her focus for a brief moment resulted in an ice prick slicing past her ribs. Gao, whose eyes were about to burst out, and attacked like crazy. The purple ray of illusion cloud Hua mountain strike locked onto the shocked Yanjua and hacked over. This strike didn't have its vibrant rays anymore. It was just an extremely ordinary purple sword rays with a subtle scorching red light inside. It was the ray of extreme flame star gold. Yanjua looked dazedly at this and completely forgot to dodge. He was locked by Yi Mo's sword domain and couldn't dodge. He didn't understand why Yi Mo was still fine after being enveloped by his red mist. Splurge! Sword ray hacked down from Yanjua's head. His essence spirit seeped out in horror as he saw purple flames radiating from Yi Mo's body. The red mist were completely dissipated by his flame. Purple heaven flame, Yanjua realized why the sizzling sound was. It was Yi Mo's fire burning his mist, not his mist erode his body. He had never seen such a powerful hollow immortal, and this was a hollow immortal who didn't convert his cultivation essence yet. This was more fucking golden immortal than golden immortal. Even golden immortal wouldn't be able to easily break his red mist. A black shadow dashed out, and Yanjua's essence spirit was gulped by it. This was the first time Yi Mo used Heaven Flame 9 Suns from inside to outside, but this was still very good. The red mist was instantly burned away. This was the first time Yi Mo used Heaven Flame 9 Suns from inside to outside, but this was still very good. The red mist was instantly burned away. Yi Mo didn't know what the red mist was, but he estimated that even if he didn't use Heaven Flame 9 Suns, it wouldn't be able to do anything to him with his God State body refinement. But Yi Mo didn't dare to bet against it. There were too many uncontrollable things in the immortal realm, and his God State was only a cultivation realm state. He didn't know the body refinement states of the immortal realm. Who's to say his body refinement can stop that red mist? After taking Yanjua's storage ring, Yi Mo saw that Gao Yuan was in danger. She had blood everywhere on her body, and her hair was messy. She could be killed at any time. Yi Mo released Zisu without hesitation and charged at the cultivator the siblings were fighting. The instant that cultivator saw Yi Mo kill Yanjua, he knew things weren't good. Yanjua could take on a few of them, and now Yi Mo could even kill Yanjua. If they fought Yi Mo, they would be killed. The moment Yi Mo took Yanjua's storage ring, that cultivator wanted to run. But he was too slow. Yi Mo took less than a second to take Yanjua's storage ring, and before his dashing light had formed, Zisu had completely bound him. So powerful, this hollow immortal spat in despair. He knew that even if he stayed to fight with Yi Mo, he could only block a few moves. Splurge! Blood light flashed as soon as his essence spirit seeped out. It was gulped by Shadowless. The other middle-aged man cultivator saw Yanjua and his partner get killed so quickly and was scared soulless. Li Heng was also shook at Yi Mo's terrifying means, but Yi Mo was on their side. His opponent tried to run, and he took the opportunity to heavily injure him. Even so, the cultivator still got away. Just when Li Heng wanted to chase up, he found that cultivator was killed by Yi Mo's strike before even running out by 10 meters. In less than half a minute, Yi Mo killed 3 of them. Li Heng and the Gao siblings looked at Emo in shock. They had never expected an ordinary cultivator who just ascended would be this powerful. Yanzhua was a dominant overlord in the Laoshi swamp. Although no one had seen Yanzhua kill a golden immortal, but there was such news. If Emo could kill Yanzhua, didn't meant that his power was on par with ordinary golden immortal primary stage. Brother Yi, I didn't expect you to be this powerful. This time you saved us, Li Heng said bitterly. To be honest, the reason he took Emo was out of pity, but mainly because he looked harmless. But now, it seemed Emo could kill him easily. He didn't even know he changed his way of calling Emo. If he knew Emo was this powerful, he would be willing to give his 10,000 immortal crystals all to Emo at the city gates. With Emo's, means no one would dare to mess with them here. There were many good things in the swamp, but they could only go distant places, as the places with rich cultivation resource had been taken over by powerful people. Brotherly, you're too polite. We're all on the same team. We should be helping each other. Emo smiled. Emo, I've never seen a hollow immortal cultivator more powerful than you. You really hit a lot of power,
Gao Yuan said.
Emo was speechless. Gao Hu quickly said, Sister, don't say that. He was afraid his sister would anger Emo. Then, he saluted with his fists. Thank you for saving us, Brother Yi. Gao Yuan also reacted and quickly said, Emo, thank you for saving our lives. Yanzhua has enmity with us. Once he robbed 9 leafless floating jiao from us. If it wasn't that there was a lot of people there, we might have been killed already. Emo sighed. Such things were everywhere. He took out a bottle of pill and said, Sister Yuan, your injuries are heavy. Eat this first. I don't have anything good. It's all some heaven-grade level 9 pills from the cultivation realm. Thank you. Gao Yuan took the pill. Heaven-grade level 9 pills are already very extravagant to us. Emo clearly felt the distance between them now that he killed Yanzhua. Gao Yuan was rather fine, but Li Heng and Gao, who clearly felt uneasy. Emo knew this was unavoidable, so he could only say, Brotherly, it's not good to stay here. Let's go see that ruin first. If there's nothing good, we need to quickly leave. Okay? Li Heng said without hesitation. He knew that if Emo wanted to kill him, he wouldn't be able to run. I'll go in first, Li Heng said, and charged into the swamp. Gao Yuan used the pill and stopped her wounds. She nodded to Emo and went in as well. Both of them went in, but Emo didn't see any changes to the swamp. He immediately knew that this was indeed a high-level stealth formation. Otherwise, he would be able to see through it. Gao Hu saluted with his fists and went in. Emo followed without hesitation. As soon as Emo went here, the view changed. He really entered an encaved land. Brother Yi, look, this is it, Li Heng said. Emo sighed. Why didn't the guy who set up the formation set up a defense formation? That way Li Heng would never be able to find this place. This area was only about a few hundred square meters. There was a dried-up pond in the center with gray huge stones on the left side. There was clearly an attack formation and trap formation in front of it. They were just ordinary level 2 immortal formation, and it should be fine for Emo to break such simple ones. Emo frowned and didn't move. The stealth formation outside was at least above level 5, but the formation here was only level 2 immortal formation. The means were very rough too. Brother Yi, is there something wrong with this formation? Li Heng asked worriedly. Emo shook his head. I can break this formation, but the difference in level between the formation here and outside is too great. I don't know why the person would do this. Gao Yuan said, would it be that they were set up by different people? Emo thought and agreed. Just because this was the same place didn't mean they were set up by the same person. Emo patted his head. Seeing this, Gao Yuan's vigilance towards Emo disappeared. She felt that, even if there was something really good here, Emo wouldn't take it all for himself. Emo didn't even make formation flags, and just used his already made ones. He didn't have the ability to set up level 2 formation, but it didn't mean he couldn't break this course level 2 immortal formation. As Emo sprayed down formation flags, a light piercing sound occurred. That gray stone opened up. This huge stone is the door? Gao Yuan asked in shock. Yes. Yi Mo answered, and as he threw down the last formation flag, a black cave appeared before them. Their spirit sense couldn't even scan inside. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.